ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a pre-Christmas edition of I Got Gameplay. Yes, this is Michael Burhan here, your host of hosts, the lovely, rather British reviewer with a voice as smooth as silk. The man who'd rather have a tea and crumpets and a bag of Doritos over Kat Jennings' naked body. And yes, I know Kat Jennings is probably going to give me a road to a lawsuit, but I still say it every day, because as part of Two Broke Girls, that's my fapping material. But it is Mr. Michael Burhan here, and your host of hosts, as I host I Got Gameplay, the gaming show like no other, of course, with a amazing cast of characters, including the lovely, talented, beautiful, and she swears like a complete and utter sailor because she has a gutter mouth like no other. She is the lovely hazardous cosplayer and Shimmergy on YouTube. She is Jamie Styles. Jamie, how are you, my darling?
I'm doing wonderful, dear. I'm so happy to be back. I know I missed last week, I think, but I am just so happy.
You need to cosplay as a sailor now, by the way.
A what?
Popeye. Just cosplay as
You need to cosplay as a sailor.
Cosplay as Popeye. That would be so funny. And I'll come in as olive oil.
I'll be the sexiest damn
You'll
Popeye.
come in olive oil?
Yeah, I'll be the sexiest damn olive oil.
Oh my god.
Most people will be like, most guys will be handing me their phone numbers, and I'll be like, yeah, sorry, I'm a dude. And then they'll be like, I don't care. Well, it's actually true. I've got a friend of mine who's transgender. She told this dude on Facebook recently that she has a penis. After he was hitting on her like crazy, and the fact that he still considered it a turn on shows you what most guys are like.
Right, you just gotta know the person. It's not necessarily the gender that's a thing, it's the actual person. It doesn't matter what sex they are.
No, but she's never met this person before in her life. This guy was like, add me. And the fact that it made me laugh, because I was like, some guys really can't keep it in their pants. But still, the cure for that, of course, is castration.
Cold shower?
And a cold shower. But, liquid castration. Anyway, going on from that, we've also, speaking of liquid castration, we've got a man who likes to castrate his trolls to an extent with a verbal beatdown. He is the lovely and amazing Lawn Boys Post 1975, Mr. Dave Wade. Dave, how are you doing today?
I'm doing marvellous. It's Saturday. I've got to go back to work tomorrow because I work Sundays. Oh, I can't do the Untitled Movie Show anymore. That's me crying, rather.
Well, we're doing next week's one, so don't worry.
But yeah, no, I'm alright. I'm good. I'm having a good Saturday night. I've not been arrested so far this Saturday night, so everything's technically better than last week.
Well, that shows how silly the police are in the United Kingdom. But still, guys, we were speaking of...
They could at least tasered me, because this sounds really stupid. I always wondered what it would be like to be tasered. Yeah,
someone has a tasing fetish. That'd be hilarious. Is he?
Will I shit my pants?
Right
if
now?
they taser me, will I shit my pants and lose like bowel control and shit?
Would you love to lose bowel control and shit your pants, Dave?
Well, not really. I just kind of curious to what being this is not a fetish, people. I'm just kind of curious to being what tasered's like, but not if it means I have to change my pants.
Well, if you like the conversation that we're having on I Got Gameplay, join us tonight as we celebrate Sony's 20th anniversary.
Join our Kickstarter to buy Dave a taser.
Of the PlayStation, and say a very happy birthday to Sony's beautiful, majestic console, which starts its roots from the effervescence of Nintendo's indecisive decision-making. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
And I think, safe to say, Mr. Byrne, I could quickly add, basically modern gaming, and I know it's a bold call that I'm going to say this, but modern gaming very much must tilt its hat to how revolutionary the PlayStation was.
Yeah, agreed. And also gaming piracy, but we will talk about that in a little bit. So let's go on to our news segment as we discuss what's in the news this week. Mr. Dave Wade, what's in the news this week?
Me?
Yes.
No, not really. I was tasered downtown and shat my pants.
Dave wants his taser now.
Okay, well...
can you tell I'm milking this? I'm going to get one. It's in my Christmas stocking already.
I feel like you should do a version of SpongeBob's Rip My Pants, but just add the whole, I shit my pants.
All I know in the news this week is the backlash from Sony, even though it was the movie studios being hacked, is actually apparently damaged their PlayStation 4 sales.
Yes, the holiday sales have been extremely good.
Because the Xbox One outsold the PlayStation for the first time in like forever, didn't it?
Yes, it has.
And I mean, I know that's what they say on the news, but you can only take it with a pinch of salt. But is it because of the fact that everyone's lost faith in Sony because it's like, oh dear God, I hope I never sent anything of sensitive information to Sony because now they pulled this movie about fucking North Korea. It might come out in public. I said horrible things about Angelina Jolie as well. Please don't make them come out in public.
But it's a big thing. And ladies and gents, I want to welcome another... one of our host days, basically a gentleman who's becoming such a regular on the I Got Gameplay podcast. He's Mr. Sean Michelin. Sean, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. I actually just got back from coffee with a friend.
Ooh. Just basically talking a little bit about the PlayStation sales and the PlayStation 4 sales and how the fact Microsoft are, making...
Well, like I said, they've overtook them officially.
Yeah.
It's a big
what
deal.
do you think about that?
It's a big deal because everyone was going on, and alright, I don't own one, but I'm not going to lie, my ways may be changing in that if I do get either a PlayStation 4 or an Xbone, I'm probably going to go with the Xbone just because I like Microsoft Online. And they don't lose shit, or your information.
I'm looking at basically going with the PlayStation 4 just because I can carry a lot of my games over in terms of like content, not in terms of the games themselves, because I know you have to buy certain games, including your PS1 games, which I'm not very happy about.
Does it play anything backwards?
No. And there's a reason, and Sony are playing very close-knit in terms of the tactics that they're using on this. They're promoting the PlayStation Now as a way for you to play all your games and all your content, but you have to pay fees to play these games. At the moment, the pricing structure of PlayStation Now is shit. I would not advise anybody to purchase it. I would not advise anybody to actually opt into it. But they are testing the waters and they are seeing what route they can go in terms of it. So we'll see.
I feel they have a
is this
card
similar
up
to?
Yeah, go on, Nick.
So is this similar to how the Wii U with some of their virtual console titles that you can bring them over, but you have to pay like a fraction of what the game is if you just bought it outright? So like I think the NES.
Yeah, that's because they've added content.
Right.
Yeah, it's basically the fact that the PlayStation itself hasn't it's not that the PlayStation's doing badly, but I think they've hit a wall in terms of content. This is the same situation that's happened with the Nintendo Wii U a while back. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. It's basically one of those things where
What's up?
Howdy ho. Ladies and gents, I would like to introduce you to one of our special guests. The other one is running late because he's doing his hair, apparently. This is a gentleman from the Pixels with Arse Borders podcast, himself one of the hosts, and also one of the admins from the forum. Introduce yourself, good sir.
I am Joe, aka Comatose87. How y'all doing tonight?
We're also
Good.
introduce you to Jamie Styles, one of our co-hosts here, lovely cosplayer and amazing female gamer as well, has her own YouTube channel and is actually gaining in popularity here as well. Sean Michelin.
She's welcome to repair my DeLorean anytime.
Gaming
Since
expert.
she's still good.
Mr. Dave Wade, internet procrastinator and also above the law. He has many grudges with the police. Apparently he runs a pot dealership, never knew. And Mr. Nick Horacek, aka Gaming Pegasus 187.
Thank you, by the way, Mike. Anyone who doesn't know what that story was now thinks I'm either a gangster, a pot grower, or an illegal firearm.
Dave, we all know that, your home is the back end of Texas. You do it for Jesus and you did it for The Rock.
Yeah. Now check out this drive. See what I did there?
So
Did it for The Rock.
he did it for The Rock. He did it for the people. So yeah, we're bringing on Mr. Chris Sanderson as well, who is the other admin and also co-host of the Pixels Without Borders podcast. Once he tries to get on, hopefully we'll get him. If he doesn't run on coal, but we shall see.
Say quickly though, hello, good sir. I've not met you before. I don't think we've had the pleasure of talking. So, hello, my name's Dave.
Hello.
Just saying.
So,
That sounded really creepy. I'm not trying to rupee you or anything.
well, right. Let me ask you a question about the fact that the Xbox has outsold Sony's PlayStation. Why do you think that is?
Well, honestly, in my opinion, right now, there's more games, for me anyway, that I would be willing to play on Xbox One than PS4.
I think you nailed it, yeah.
And there's also, it helps that it's also $50 off, plus deals going on for the holiday season. But honestly, yeah, I believe because there's more games on it currently that I want to play than it is on PS4. That's just general. Yeah.
Now, let's go.
I don't know what, but I have to say very quickly, I really do agree with on that, which is it's like the Xbox is finally coming to its own with the fact that that's one thing Microsoft do really well, which is their exclusive content or their first party titles. They have draw factor, they have strength, and it's kind of literally, it's taken a while, but it's kind of gotten to its own right now, and it's like you have all the exclusive games like the Halo compilation that basically PlayStation ain't got shit like that right now.
Sunset Overdrive is the name one of them. I just started playing that recently. I'm having a hell of a lot of fun playing that.
So, do you think it's first-party titles, the fact that they don't have... Sony has kind of hit that wall where they haven't got many first-party titles and they're just using rehashes to kind of let the console float on a little bit? Because it seems like everything you can get for the PlayStation 4, you can get for the PlayStation 3, but there are specialist games like 2K15, for instance, that you have to have the next-gen console in order to have the full experience. When me and Nick discussed this when we did our Rather British review on that, which is going to be up.
By the way, Nick, I watched your video on it and it was awesome, and it was also an extra point in my face for wanting to buy an Xbone because it looked amazing.
So
much better than the 360 version. It actually gave me wood. Sorry.
So tell me a little bit about that, Sean. What's your opinion on this? Do you think Sony's sales? Do you think it's because they've made the Xbox One kind of prettier and cheaper?
I think they have it. I mean, like they're finally getting the damage control under themselves from when they did that E3 debut, the $500. She was on the other foot, so to speak, because it was Sony, the last generation that was having the same issue, and they dropped the Kinect, and all of a sudden now, when they saw the prices were going to go up for the for the PlayStation 4, that they turned around and dropped the price, and now Sony's got a lot of damage control due there, just all around, like. Now the Sony Pictures debacle there with the interview and content now is slotting a bit.
What they priced Sony in general. In this country, they quoted it. They're currently going to have to pay $250 million out. That includes the cost of the movie for damage control on that, and most of that's going to be lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah. According to the Newsday, apparently they were saying that they were going to. Still want to put out the movie. The CEO was saying that this isn't a dead point or something like that. That they're actually going to still try to go ahead with the movie. They're exploring options.
Yeah,
I still really want to see it.
I think that's a load of bollocks, in my opinion. You can still see it. It's actually leaked online.
Because of this.
But it's fine. Well, not really, because the North Koreans didn't want anyone to see it at all, even pirates. The Somali types.
Just serious for a moment.
Yeah.
The worrying thing about this is when Barack Obama said, I forget the fact that I don't think he's
would you not tolerate terrorism?
Yeah, and they should not have pulled this movie. I'm like, well, they hacked them, so shut up, because we don't want them to hack the Pentagon.
I don't think they would, because they know that would turn into a... Yeah, but it would turn into an issue where these guys would be basically trying to kill each other, and I think the rest of the world would just be like, "Woo, we're going to let you two fight it out."
We never got hacked. If you remember that infamous episode of Retro New Life where I tore into North Korea for an hour.
Yeah, but they don't watch this as much as they do them. Anyway, Jamie, what do you think of this?
What do I think of what?
The Xbox outselling the Sony PlayStation 4.
Well, I mean, it's probably honestly because of Halo coming out. I think that's exactly why the Xbox sold out the PS4 at Christmas time. I think everyone's like, Master Chief Collection, done.
That's true. I know the lovely Samantha Jennings, who's a member of this podcast. She's basically been streaming she's streamed the entire Master Chief Collection for an entire day. She did a 24-hour live stream. And I tip my hat off to you, you lovely lady, because you managed to basically complete the entire game within an entire live stream.
All of them?
The entire collection. She played the whole thing all the way through.
I tilt my hat to you.
Yeah, apparently Brandon Ligon watched her do it. Make sure I will get the live feed for her Twitch. Put it in our subscribers and comment section, guys. Check her out. She's amazing. And hopefully
check her content out, Mike, is what you meant to say.
Well, she's going to be hopefully on I Got Gameplay at some point. And you can also contribute as well. She's managed to gain a very successful following doing her Twitch plays. So I tip my hat off to you, Miss Jennings.
What is this Twitch thing you people all speak of on interwebs?
Speaking of Twitch, Chris, what do you think about this? Do you think it's basically exactly what Jamie said here? It's because of the Master Chief Collection? Is it because of Phil Spencer basically cutting the price and removing the Kinect? Do you think it's all these factors that are weighed in, the fact they've made it 25% cheaper over the Christmas holidays? Chris?
Ah, shit.
Shit, North Korea got him.
He'll be back. So let's go on to our little bit more of news. Apparently, Borderlands is going into the MMORPG route in China. Apparently, when it comes to MMORPG variants, one of the most acclaimed recent gaming titles out there, the Chinese can call themselves lucky. 2K and Shanda Games are reportedly teamed up to bring a Borderlands online MMORPG to the Chinese market, reported by looterslounge.com. Now, what do you think of this, Ryan? Do you think this is going to be awesome?
North Korea is slowly popping all of us off, aren't they?
I think so. Well, we'll ask you, Dave. What do you think?
I think possibly trying to cash in on the recent, MMO of what's his name in the Halo universe? I'm having a complete brain fart. The one you did with Rodman.
Oh, Destiny.
Yeah, I wonder if it's kind of them trying to go, well, that seemed to work. Let's go that route ourselves. Bold decision, but yeah. I think Borderlands is kind of renowned and loved by its fans for being a solid state complete game within itself. Alright, you can play online, you know what I mean, but I don't know. I think it's kind of I'm always wary about games that are going to be entirely out there, if that makes sense, because then ultimately when your internet is shit as mine, it means you're fucked and you won't be able to play it very much. But yeah, I think, I don't know, I get the impression that some bloke at the top and that, the company just went, hey, turned out that this game worked, why don't we try that?
So, are you kind of jealous now, Nick, about China getting a MMORPG of Borderlands?
Honestly, I'm not the biggest MMO guy.
You're fan again. Sorry, guys.
It's not me tonight, Mike. It's not me tonight.
No, it is. It's coming from your screen. It's gone. Go, Nick.
Well, I'm not the biggest MMO guy, but the Chinese, they love MMORPGs and these type of games, so I guess more power to them. I'm honestly more interested in playing Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah, I think it's it's something rather unique, and especially China tends to make everything into an MMORPG, which is pretty cool. Jamie, what do you think?
I personally, I don't care much for the Borderlands series, but I don't know, if they want to go for it, then I say rock on, whatever.
I just love the gun mechanic in that game. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
No, I've had a blast playing it the pre-sequel recently has been a lot of fun to play.
Yeah,
Just the fact that there's
Still need to pick
almost
that
an
up.
unlimited amount of weapons you can get because it regenerates them in different sort of variations and stuff. Really cool.
Especially the gun grinder in Borderlands, the pre-sequel, like I said again, is pretty interesting combinations you can make out of that thing.
But what's the little robot's name? Who is adorable?
Claptrap?
Claptrap.
Yeah, Claptrap.
I
want a
hate
plushie of
Claptrap.
him. Oh, you hate him? But he's
Yes.
so cute and
They
adorable.
Claptrap.
tried to make it sweetly, and they failed.
Dubstep, wob, 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 wob.
Yeah.
When the bass drop.
I don't know, just if you had to pick between him and R2, I'd go with him because he just kind of feels a little bit more real.
I like Tiny Tina.
Plus, I'd let him Valley park my car.
Tiny Tina was awesome.
I love me some Tiny Tina.
Tiny Tina's DLC for Borderlands 2 was amazing. Bunkers and badasses.
Right?
Okay, so
You can buy the first game in this country in Pink Planet for £5, and I say to anyone who's bored and they've got nothing to do with their life, that sounded like a really cold statement. I do apologise. You got bored and you're nothing to do with your life. You got £5. Go and buy the original Borderlands. All right. Granted, sorry, it's not up there with modern games, but it's a whole wonderful. It feels very much. If I can make the comparison, and it's a bold leap, I know, but it feels very much for me to like Fallout in the sense that you can just get lost in that world for hours and hours and hours and hours. And wake up one day and think, Jesus Christ, where did the last 3 days go?
well, I want to give a special shout out to Michael Yanacito, who's listening to the show currently. Michael's not very well, sitting at home. Mike, hope you're doing better, Mr. Muscle Yoda.
Muscle Yoda.
Muscle Yoda.
Suit, dude.
He's also a man who basically gave me the physique that I currently have, so I have to give him a big thank you for that. And, just so you know, guys, as well, there is an awesome sale if you live in the United States going on PS Vita games. You can get games for as little as $5, and they are crazy, crazy deals for the holidays.
Is that physical copies?
No, these are, I believe, downloadable. But I shall tell you what these games are.
I almost had a semi then.
I can see. Now, the holidays are coming. Gamers throughout the world are excited. With any discounts, that is no different from Hold On, the PS Vita games for just $5. There have been some great deals so far, but as up there amongst them, you get the PlayStation All-Star Battle Royal, $5, Little Deviants, Smart As, Wipeout 2048, Unit 13, Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time, Modern Racers, and Resistance Burning Skies. So you can get all these lovely games for as little as $5 each. So make sure you go into the PlayStation Online store and check those out. And also Sony and Microsoft are giving away free games currently as well on their respective stores. So check it out, guys, and see what deals are out there for you.
Actually, Microsoft gave away on Xbox 360 even to silver customers, because I'm technically cheap right now and I am a silver customer at the moment. But what was the game they gave away the other day? They're actually giving and I was quite surprised that they're actually giving away games to people who want on gold.
That's a surprise, especially for
I only got silver.
I would have the gold, but the thing is, because I think I told you this before on another podcast, Mike, which is when I first got my Xbox, my Xbox 360, when I set it up with my Hotmail account I've had since 1996. Quite proud of that fact, by the way, people. Lone Boys post at Hotmail.com. And pretty much it decided to think that I was living in North America, and it makes adding points to my console really complicated. And when I extend or get gold membership, because I only do it once a year, I always forget how they do it. It becomes really nerve-wracking and like a James Bond moment, because I could fuck it up and lose it. Basically, I have a UK account on my Xbox 360, and I have to log points into that, and then kind of find a way to fudge them into my US account, even though I'm not American, because that's how my console recognized my membership, simply because back then it just went, you have .com at the end of your email address, you must be living in North America. It's really complicated and convoluted and annoying, and stressful when you have to do it.
Well, speaking of stress...
And I practiced 2 days before with like one of those little codes you get for like 48 hours access in a game, and just to make sure that I can remember how to do it and not fuck up losing, 60 quid's worth of money on an online account. Oh, Microsoft, seriously. And they tried to address this issue 2 years ago, and they said, hey, we understand that we fucked up, and sometimes you got migrated to the wrong country, and it makes it difficult for logging in. Well, you can migrate back. I'm like, oh, I'm all over that. And so I logged in and looked at it, and the tutorial video was, welcome, Eastern Europe, if you are Polish. And you've been migrated to the wrong country, you can log back in.
Well, we can talk about that in a little bit more, Dave. I want to basically hit on a few more news segments, including Telltale Games. Telltale Games have decided to make basically a Telltale game out of one of the most unlikeliest games out there. Now,
I think everything they touch turns to gold, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but this was actually advertised in the Pixels Without Border forums, and was basically put up as Power Games writes. The announcement this week is that Telltale Games are turning to one of the most popular video games of all time, the Mojang developed Minecraft.
I heard about this.
Yeah, for the latest series come completely out of the left
field. They're going to do an episodic Minecraft game?
Yes, there's several members of our staff here at Power Up Gaming classing ourselves as diehard fans of both Minecraft and Telltale, and we're discussing today whether or not we think this game has serious potential to become another masterpiece in interactive storytelling. You can check out this article by going to powerupgaming.co.uk, but I'm a bit confused by this. Now, let's go to our guests firstly. We'll ask you, Ray, first. What do you think of this? Do you think this is...
I'm not quite sure, to tell you the truth. Minecraft. When you think Minecraft, it's not a game you think is going to have a story to it. And I'm just wondering how a point-and-click Minecraft Telltale game is going to go. I mean, sure, they've done great now with The Walking Dead Seasons 1 and 2 and The Wolf Among Us, and more recently they've been doing Borderlands and the Game of Thrones. Both episodes 1 have come out on both of those, if I'm not mistaken. And they've been all really great from what I've heard. I mean, I've only played The Walking Dead Season 1. Back to the Future. I completely forgot about Back to the Future. Which is actually available as a full game on consoles, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken,
they've done that with all their Telltale games.
I play it on the Wii, which is really clunky and horrible, but it's still an amazing game.
Well, they've released them all on for digital download separately and episodic, or you can get the complete pack by buying the game physically. That's happened with all the games, including The Wolf Among Us. Season 1. I believe there is going to be a Season 2, isn't there, Jamie?
I don't know. I hope so. I'm so mad that they keep putting out, like, oh, we're going to do Borderlands, oh, we're doing Game of Thrones, oh, we're going to do Minecraft now. I'm like, I just want my fucking Season 2 of The Wolf Among Us.
Can I be really ignorant and say, I hear really good things about, The Wolf Among Us, but and I know it's a Telltale game, so I kind of got an idea of what it is, but what's its actual sort of gameplay like? What is it? Is it based on something?
Gameplay is really... It's like most Telltale games, it's very story-driven. The gameplay itself is really fun. I actually have it, and I enjoy it. I love the story itself, and if you love the story of The Wolf Among Us, please be sure to check out the original comics that it's based off of, Fables.
Oh, so it's comic-based.
It's awesome. Yes, it is. It's fantastic. The comics themselves are just, God, they're so amazing.
By the way, ladies and gents, if you want to go to check this out, this stream, you can go to Unlim Radio, and I'm currently in the live chat on the live stream as we're talking at the moment. You've got Travis Goss from Rose Colored Let's Plays, who's joining me on the chat and discussing everything about this, including our various news stories that are going on. Nick, what do you think of this? Do you think a Minecraft story-based game is going to succeed?
Maybe. I don't know what story you're going to come up with off of Minecraft. But, it might work.
What about you, Chris? What do you think?
I think it could be a good idea, because originally with Minecraft,
it was just a big Lego arena. You go around, build stuff, and people create amazing things. And they added into the game actual end game content, like a meaning to get there, to create the portal, to fight the Ender Dragon and things like that. So to add a story, it could be a good idea. And one of their games, what they first came out with before Back to the Future, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, everything like that everybody seems to forget about, is the Sam and Max series.
Oh yes, good point.
Which are genuinely
fantastic.
hilarious. And I think that's the only series as well that hasn't come out physical.
No, there's a physical copy of that on the Wii, because I have it on the Wii.
Oh, they are fantastic games.
So,
But
ladies and gentlemen,
I think a Minecraft story could be interesting. I mean,
I don't know how they
is following?
flesh it out.
Is it Steve?
well, we'll
My-
find
yeah,
out
kind-
when because we've only got loose information about it. We don't know exactly what the game's going to be about yet. All we know, it's basically titled Minecraft Story Mode. So we have no idea where this is going to come from. Ray, you were going to say something?
North Korea got him as
No,
well.
no.
Oh, okay.
Oh, still there, sorry.
So
Just
yeah,
checking. King
there you go,
Jong-il
ladies
didn't kill
and
you.
gentlemen. Now, what I will suggest is, news hasn't been that big in terms of gaming news this week. We have got other little news bits and features that we'll probably carry on to next week's show, because this show's going to be kind of a bit long, because we're going to be talking about the history of Sony's PlayStation. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take a little break for basically a 3-minute break with our awesome cast of characters here, and we will be back right after, basically, as we play a little bit of music. So I'm just going to go over to our lovely music directory, and
You're a good man, Burhan, affording me this chance to take a master slash.
oh, no worries. And so let's basically go on to an awesome song that I'm going to play from Adventure Time, and it's called Party of Heroes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was from the Adventure Time soundtrack. And that was
Who
called...
was Skyping like a motherfucker during that, by the way?
That was called Party of Heroes, which is a lovely, lovely track from there. And now we're all back, we're all kind of refreshed, and we've got someone coming to join us in a second. And let's see if he's on. Yes, he is. He has been on the show previously. He was on our show when we were talking about gaming couples for our Valentine's Day episode. And he is Mr. Scott Wilson. So let's see if I can grab him on, bring him on the show with us and join us. So we've got a nice full-star Sony panel. Now, this show is basically a kind of a happy belated birthday to the Sony PlayStation. It's a console for most of us, for me being kind of an 80s and 90s baby. And most of us here have had our experiences with like consoles like the Nintendo Entertainment System, growing up from the 8-bit era all the way to 16-bit era, then to kind of the 64-bit era, where things changed. Now, for those who don't know, Sony redefined the industry in a sense because they took it to somewhere where games became affordable and cheap to manufacture for gaming companies, thus making a lot more games available to the general public through different companies, and also kind of made their way around the Nintendo and Sega licensing issues that made developers scratch their head and think, you know, what the hell's going on? Do you know what I mean? And
also, let's not forget that they were the first people to kind of market a console aggressively and make it kind of not just a kids thing. You know, it was aimed at mid to late 20s and early 30s as well.
That's exactly it. Now, let's say hello to Mr. Scott Wilson. Scott, you here?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So, basically, let's ask the panel here now. Let's go and talk a little bit about it, because we're going to talk a little bit about history in a second. What was your first experience, Scott, with the PlayStation when you had this console? What was the first game you played and the first experience you had with it, and what did you think of it as a whole?
Actually, my first PlayStation 3, my first PlayStation was PlayStation 3. Like, I never really had a console except for the original Xbox before that. Mm-hmm. But, like, just going back to the original PlayStation, I seem to remember playing it with some friends of mine, or at least one of my friends, and we were playing Resident Evil 1. And I remember we were just kind of laughing at all the slow zombies and kind of like making up these mini stories for like the PlayStation 1. As for the PlayStation 3, like so far I've loved it. My girlfriend Sarah and I have been using it to play games, watch movies, and you know it's probably one of the systems that we use the most in our home.
So let's take it to our guests here. Let's start with you, Chris. Tell us a little bit about your experience with the PlayStation.
The first experience I can remember with the PlayStation was when my brother won a PS1 through a competition, through this random... I can't remember what it were where he won it, but he basically entered a Tekken competition where they were showcasing the PS1. And he managed to beat everybody on Tekken, and he won a PlayStation with Tekken, Battle Arena Toshinden, Ridge Racer, and Wipeout. And those were like my first experiences of the PlayStation, and I was obsessed with Battle Arena Toshinden due to the anime style of the game, and like being a big anime fan, and I just love the PlayStation from there. And it's just an amazing thing to come out for the game industry, and it was such a game changer as well.
What about yourself?
But yeah, that.
Well, okay, I guess we can just jump into me. I don't fucking know. My first experience with the PlayStation was closer to the end of its life, actually. It was right around the time the PS2 was about to come out, and my friend was buying a PS2, so he sold me his PS1. And he sold me Crash Bandicoot. That was the first PlayStation game I had played. And
it's still awesome.
Crash is awesome. It was awesome even still today, true. And then it's like I liked it, but I didn't play it much up to that point. In fact, at that point in my life, I'd only had 3 other consoles, and that was the Sega Genesis, the N64, and a Game Boy Pocket with Pokemon Red. So, yeah, and then I was running around a flea market, and I found Final Fantasy VII. So the first game I really got engrossed in was Final Fantasy VII, and yes, I'm going to say that it's one of my favorite RPGs, but not my favorite game of all time. Like everyone says, "Oh, Final Fantasy VII, yes, it's good," and you know the whole thing with the coming to PS4, but whatever. Well, Final Fantasy IX was the next game I got, and I just fell in love with the atmosphere of Final Fantasy IX in general. And then really I had more experience with the PS2 than the PS1, because shortly after that I got a PS2. So my library of PS1 games really, really short at the moment.
What about you, Nick?
It was actually Christmas of '99 for me on the PlayStation, so about 15 years ago. And the first game I played was the original Suikoden.
Nice.
What about you?
Great fucking game.
So what about you, Jamie? What was your first PlayStation console that you played, and what was the effect it had on you?
The first console I got was the actual PlayStation 1. And I even had like the little travel thing where you like attached the screen to it and everything, and you could take it with you.
Yes.
I had that when I was pretty young, and it was my first gaming console. And I don't even remember the first game I played on it. I know I had like Hot Wheels racing and things like that, and after that I got my PS2. Now my PS2 is like my baby. I love my PlayStation 2. That's the one that really, that one is the one that really kind of threw me into playing video games and things like that. I even had the iToy for it.
So, tell me a little bit, I would say, about your experience, Sean. What was your experience with the console? Did you get a PlayStation?
I owned a PS1 later on, but usually, like, after a couple of years of it being out, I got to experience it with friends. That before then, I had actually got to play quite a bit the TurboGrafx CD and Jaguar CD, so I had some experience with CD-based systems. But this really blew me away because the bar was set a lot higher. I was playing Gran Turismo, the first one.
On. Am I right? It didn't feel like CD was tacked on. It felt like it was properly.
Yeah, it felt like it was actually. Yeah, it was actually part of it, like not an afterthought. Like, oh, here's an add-on, so now you can play CD games. Like, no, this is a CD-based system. And like I'd seen in the local computer shop before, like 3DO and CDI being advertised and things like that, but didn't really appeal to me because they had over bunched up with the games and then those little movie discs that you could play on them or whatever. And the PlayStation came along and I started playing games like a wide variety of games like Twisted Metal and Oddworld and Ridge Racer and all this, and of course Final Fantasy games and such, and even to the point where I got in a PS2, I was still playing PlayStation 1 games on it as well. I'd actually given my niece my PS1 when I'd graduated to a PS2, and even now still, like, I don't own either now. Kind of lost them in a move a few months back there, but I emulate the PlayStation 1 on my Raspberry Pi. I have all the Final Fantasy games on there, as well as Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and I'm going to get a few more because I still own the titles. I just don't have anything to play them on, so quote-unquote legally I'm still playing them. It's just not playing them on original hardware.
What about you, Dave?
But, yeah, I liked it.
Sorry. Go on, Sean.
Oh, no, I just say it. I liked it. I was very, very impressed.
Dave, what about you?
If you go on Facebook right now, and not just because of the theme of this podcast tonight, but I did genuinely find this today, buried in the bowels of my house, but I just put pictures up of my original first generation, first release Japanese PlayStation 1. I just remember reading the magazines about this, new tech, and like other people said that, we'd had disc-based systems as an add-on or an afterthought before this, but this was like, and I know the Saturn was around at the same time, but this was like, fully integrated, and it was just like Sony. Everything Sony just has, forget their fucking debacle lately with the movies, but Sony's name just says quality, or did, to me then. And I remember, bearing in mind that I imported my Japanese Mega Drive and my Super Famicom, because I was always that eager kid who didn't want to, have to wait. And when I found out that the PlayStation was coming out, I bought it a year before it came out in England, and it cost me £450 back then. Yeah, I'm still paying it off technically, weekly, at £1 a week, and it just blew my mind. It just absolutely blew my mind. And also, what was great about mine, because obviously, you people in North America forget this, but back then we were shafted in this country. But this was like, I got a proper 60 hertz machine, and you could do the disc swap trick on it.
Yes.
I don't even know why I found that out, because it's pre-internet. Well, it's not pre-internet, but I didn't find out on the internet. And yeah, you stuck a bit of blue tack in the button when the lid lifts and stuff, and then you would swap the discs, but then the UK disc would play the music in the sequence of what the Japanese one was, and it would be all fucked up and shit. But this was the first moment when my brain just went, yes, thank you, gaming, you finally come of age. I mean, I love my Mega Drive, I love my SNES, Master System, NES, and all that shit, but this was like, it felt like, how should I put this without sounding like an idiot? An adult console, if that makes sense. Something for everyone.
I'll tell you my
And it wasn't just aimed at kids. It was kind of, it had that cool factor.
Yeah.
And Sony pulled it off. And Baruina Toshidan, even though it's a shallow fighter, still to this day, back then, is one of the most mind-blowing moments ever when I put a disc in the console and my brain just went, say what?
Well, let me explain my first experience with the PlayStation, because it's a short story. My house was divided into two factions, of course. One who loved Sega, the other who loved Nintendo. And then this little hardware came into play. My brother bought an N64. My brother, Jonah, has his N64. I tested it the other day. One of my loves of my life, in a sense. But it couldn't touch the Sony PlayStation, which my brother Hussein bought. Amazing console. Enjoyed it. And it was so amazing, to the point where I saw these graphics, the fact that you could have arcade style games on this compact disc. It did everything that most CD based consoles at the time didn't really know how to do. And
would you say we finally got what they promised, which is they've been saying with the Mega Drive and the SNES and stuff, which is, you get the arcade experience at home.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I got. And then eventually, I wanted one of my own. So, a few years later on, I got a PlayStation 1. Now, this was my first job that I ever had growing up. Came out of school way before I went to university, and I decided to do the work thing. It was something my dad wanted me to do and find a job. So I got an intern position in the company whilst being a mail clerk. I then, being the ambitious twerp that I am, graduated onto their call center position, and then, because of the fact that I was so intelligent and people got very offended by the way that I just basically made my sales and managed to and my own moral compass, in a sense, I left the position because of bullying. I was being bullied by people. I was a young kid who couldn't really deal with it, had enough of it at school. And I left with a very big salary. I ended up with about $1,000, $2,000 in the bank. I was happy, and I said to my dad, the one thing I said to my dad was, can I buy a PlayStation? Dad looked at me and went, What
was their price in the UK when they were released?
Well, this wasn't a PSX. This wasn't the PlayStation 1 precursor. It was the PlayStation 1, the small little mini one that I managed to get. And I got a chip put in, so I could play a lot of copied games, international games, and play my normal UK games. And I still have it to this day. And I was just playing tons of PlayStation games. I got my brother's library out. I got my games, and and just played as many games as I possibly get my hands on, and it was an amazing experience. It was enjoyable, and I call it my loafer years because I spent a year sitting on my arse doing nothing until I eventually decided to go back to work and try again, which led to loads of different mistakes. But it's part of my childhood that I love, and it was something that it kind of, I was secluded in my room, I was away from the outside world, and nobody could basically touch me in a sense. But that's my own little story, and it continued on, but we'll talk about that in a little bit when we get to the other consoles, of course. Now, the origin of the PlayStation was the brainchild of Ken Kutaragi. He's a Sony executive who came out of the hardware engineering division at the time and later be dubbed as the father of the PlayStation. Now, can any of you guys tell me what he did for a Nintendo console prior to them making an agreement with Sony to create a CD-ROM based system?
From game.
They were going to make a CD-based add-on for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that. He listened to the sounds of Sega's Mega Drive, aka the Genesis, and what happened.
Did he tweet? Was he behind their sound chip? The fact that their sound chip was so much more above. Don't get me wrong, I love the Genesis, and I prefer the sound that. Oh, I said Genesis. Sorry, Mega Drive, and it was so much similar to the arcade. But there's no denying that SNES sound chip was absolutely something else. The FM chip. Did he have some hand in that?
Yes, he did. He basically, I remember at the time, he sat there and he listened to it, and went, this isn't the way games should sound. I can put something together better. So he made the chip, and then approached Sony about going to Nintendo with this chip, and he played it for Nintendo's head executives. They made a deal with Sony to make this manufacturer's sound chip for their Super Nintendo system. Allowing them to have an amazing sound processor on it. It was, and I know a lot of people like the Mega Drive sound, but the Super Nintendo sound chip was second to none. Now, Nintendo basically then went into a partnership in 1988. God, it's that long. Which was originally a joint project between Nintendo and Sony to create a CD-ROM for the Super Famicom. Although Nintendo denied the existence of Sony deal as of late March 91, Sony revealed that Super Famicom with a built-in CD-ROM drive incorporated Green Book technology, or CDI, the Consumer Electronics Show in June 91.
Let's not forget Sony were publishing quite a lot of games on the SNES at this point.
Yes, and a day after the announcement, Nintendo announced it would be breaking its partnership with Sony, opting to go with Philips, and for extra bonus points, guys, can you tell me why they broke that partnership?
Ooh. Nintendo wanted too much out of them on their side of the deal?
Kind of. Actually, it was the opposite way around.
What, Sony wanted control?
Sony wanted ownership of the hardware?
Not just that. Sony would actually own all rights to the CD-based games that were going to be manufactured on the system.
Wow.
Nintendo don't like that.
No, because Nintendo are complete and utter control freaks in terms of the way they
because
handle their
Nintendo
systems.
don't.
And they were also worried about the fact that with a CD-based system, there would be issues with copyright, which happened when people started purchasing the disk drive-based system, where they were copying games onto discs anyway from cards.
Super Wildcard. I had one for my SNES. Yeah, Super Wildcard. You put it onto zip disks.
Yes.
Big ugly thing that sat on the top, and you could get 16 games on one 250 megabyte zip disk.
Yes.
And it took forever to load them, but it was cheap.
It was.
To buy games.
So basically, they then decided, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to go with Philips instead, which led to the CDI issues because they basically went with Philips. They went.
I still really want a CDI though. I know you can laugh.
I can't wait to bump into dongos.
Yeah, basically both guys they had this huge issue. Sony were going to sue the shit out of Nintendo, even threatening them for breaking their agreement. And it infuriated Sony president Noria Uga, who responded by appointing Kuragi with the responsibility of developing a rival to Nintendo. After Nintendo decided, you know what, we're not going to do the CD-based system anymore. They then leased their characters out to Philips to do some games. which Hotel Mario, the fucking Zelda.
There is
games.
one. There is a holy grail.
Zelda's Adventure.
It was
Wanda
Holy grail of
Gamelon.
games on that system, burn cycle.
Must defeat Dr. Wawi.
I would not. You know what? I know people purchase those games as collectors. I would not wipe my ass on those games. I
wouldn't
either.
They are terrible games.
Oh god.
Do United Kingdom people?
I like to pretend those games don't exist.
Yeah. At the
Like
time,
Nintendo did.
Nintendo's
No, but do United Kingdom people remember, particularly Virgin promoted this, well, didn't promote it, they stopped it, and the whole fad of when they tried to make VCD a viable format in this country, and it was for, it was basically for the Philips CDI, and you could go to Virgin, and you could buy, like, I still have a Star Trek 4 as an official disc, or 2 discs, for, you know, the VCD format, and, because that was the whole thing, wasn't it? They were trying to, and you could get an adapter for the 3DO, which, at least the CDI had it built in, but, yeah. Do you remember that when they were trying to make VCD a viable format?
They were trying,
which is still, still fucking, by the way, that still outsells DVDs in Asia.
Yes, it does. Because it's cheaper, and because you can probably go into any sort of Chinese shop and get.
And one of my greatest things in my collection, this sounds really stupid, is I have an Asian copy of Back to the Future on VCD, and I love it.
Well, negotiations between Sony and Nintendo ended in May '92, and decided the fate of the PlayStation project. The meeting was held in June. Consists of Sony President Uga, PlayStation head Kuragi, and several senior members of Sony's board at the video games. And basically, they unveiled the property CD-ROM based system, which I've been working on, involved the PlayStation. Basically, reminded of Tugi of the humiliation he suffered in Nintendo. And nevertheless, due to strong opposition from a majority, the president at the meeting, widespread internal opposition, the project of the older generation of Sony executives, Kuragi and his team, had shifted to Sony's headquarters to Sony Music, a completely separate financial entity owned by Sony, so as to retain the project and maintain relationships with Philips for the MMCD development project, which led to the creation of DVDs. Now,
can you imagine though? Can I just do a kind of alternative Back to the Future 1985 timeline here? Can you imagine what we would have got if we actually got that Sony, you know, all-in-one SNES or Super Famicom, disc-based system? Is that, and anyone else think that might have been really cool?
It probably would have.
I wonder that sometimes, because I play the games on my Raspberry Pi
with the CD or the Sega CD.
Well, it would have.
Well, if they had some of the same titles planned.
Full motion video.
Yeah.
But I know
one of the times planned for the
but what's
SNES CD was
colour
the original
compared to the
Mega
Mega Drives? Because the problem with the Mega CD or the Sega CD was the colour palette was 64, wasn't it? So it looked shit. But what was the SNES's colour palette? So I'd be kind of curious to what full motion video games would have looked like on that if we ever
Well, it
done
was
it.
much higher. It had a lot more. It had a lot more of a palette, and plus it used PCM sound as opposed to FM synthesis, right? Well, the Sega CD, Mega CD had a separate sound chip in that, but you know, much more. I think it was like 256 colors simultaneous.
I need to see it now.
Well, going on from that, let's talk a little bit more about how Sony Computer Entertainment was formed. Now, basically, at Sony Music, Kuragi worked closely with Shigeru Miyamoto, the CEO of Sony Music, and Akira Sato to form Sony Computer Entertainment, or SCEI, in November 1693, and building block to SCEI was an initial partnership with Sony Music, which helped SCEI attract creative talent to the company, as well as assist SCEI in manufacturing, marketing, and producing discs, something that Sony Music had been doing with music discs. The final two key members of SCEI were Terry Tanuka and president of SCEI from Sony's headquarters of Olaf Olofsson. It just shows you guys how strongly a company can go, like, for getting, like, pissy about things. Do you know what I mean? To get really angry and say, you know what? You fucked us off, so we're going to make a fucking game console, and we're going to fuck your shit up.
We're going to spite you right now because you pissed us off. By the way, I just put it in the link to all you people on this podcast. That's my box PlayStation Japanese original Model 1.
Now, Phil Harrison would later become president of Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios. He was recruited to SCI to attract developers and publishers to produce games for their new PlayStation platform. Now, the thing about this was, PlayStation was able to give creative, gaming companies a chance to develop without any issues. It was cheaper to make. They were offering these creative dev kits pretty much for free. Have you seen the black PlayStation?
Oh, is it the Eurosi? What's it called?
The Eurosa. Joan Games actually owns one of those. We did talk about it.
Those things go for fucking mental money on eBay.
Yeah, it's they were given to devs to basically create games, which was part of their development kit, and also to basically do demos of the games. Now, Phil Harrison would later become the president of Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios and was recruited into SCI to attract developers and publishers, as we said. And after the demonstration of Sony's distribution plan and tech demos, the new console and game publishers and developers in a hotel in Tokyo in '94, numerous developers began to approach PlayStation, two of whom later became major partners were Electronic Arts in the West, Namco in Japan, and one of the factors that attracted developers to the platform was the use of 3D-capable CD-ROM based console, which was much cheaper and easier to manufacture in comparison to Nintendo's rival console, which used cartridge systems. The project eventually hit Japanese stores in December '94 and gained massive sales due to its lowest price point and its competitor, the Sega Saturn. It was more popular than the console, and its release worldwide in North America, it just eclipsed everything. It became the number one system. And why do you guys think this was? Why do you think it managed to...
I think it comes back to what I touched on before, which was the way Sony marketed it was, it wasn't like, it's to preserve kids, if that makes sense. It was something for everyone, but it was more aimed at, especially games like Wipeout. It was kind of like, I'm chic, I'm cool, look at my soundtrack, because the soundtrack on Wipeout was absolutely fantastic. And it was basically, I'm not a kids thing anymore. I'm for, aspiring young to, late 20 adults and stuff. And that's where the PlayStation took off, which was, you could actually go into people's houses and it would be like, I'm old now, but I wasn't then. But you could walk into someone's house and go like, you're pushing 30 and you've got a video game console?
This was last week we did the 7th Generation Awards. And this week, right, we're talking about a console that was part of the 5th Generation series of consoles.
5th Generation?
5th Generation. We're now currently on the 8th generation of consoles. It wasn't that far behind, and this was originally developed in '94 as the first ubiquitous PlayStation series of consoles, and the first time that they've put something together. And they had upgrades including that Yaruza, a special black PlayStation with tools and instructions to program PlayStation games and applications.
And let's not forget the fact that they basically defined the modern analog joypad.
Yes.
Yep.
With the DualShock.
That as well, and figure this one out, guys, as well, which it holds a world record. Can you tell me what that world record is?
Number of sales in a short period?
It is to do with sales. Anyone else want to chime in?
Christmas sales?
No. Go, Chris.
Launch day sales.
Fastest selling game?
No, it holds a total sales average of units. Can you tell me how many units that this console has sold?
44 million. Wow.
Over 120 million units is that becoming the first video game console to sold.
You could build an island out of that many PlayStations.
Yes. Now, think about it this way. The console itself redefined the gaming industry as becoming a cheaper platform for developers. It holds the record of one of the highest selling video game consoles to sell 120 million units, and holds that title of being the first video game console to do that.
I still think it looks like a Fisher-Price toy.
But then it was redefined again, as in released in 7th July 2000, concurrently with the success of the PlayStation 2, the PS1, considerably smaller one, which is the first one that I purchased, and a redefined version of the ongoing PlayStation video game console went outsell the other consoles, including its successor, throughout the remainder of the year. It featured two major changes from its predecessor. First being cosmetic changes, the console was the second being the home menu's graphical user interface, and it also, like the charger, or the kind of the plug, was a lot smaller in comparison to the original PlayStation's plug.
And they had that LCD screen as well.
Yes, that you could attach to it as well, so you could play portably.
Was that technically, even though the resolution of the console wasn't, but was that, since it's LCD, was that technically an HD screen?
Not really. It was an LCD screen.
Boo. And then they had that unofficial bar that you would plug in the back because they knew that everyone wanted to watch VCDs, mainly because you could buy hooky movies from the market on a Saturday. Do you remember that? The VCD adapter that you plugged in the back that was kind of like an L-shaped weird thing?
I had one for my PS1. I had one for my grey PS1. I remember getting many of these CDs.
And don't judge me on this because it was actually my brother's. I'm not just saying that to distance myself from this, but the quotation fingers pirate games, and my brother actually came home one day, my twin brother, and just went, "You won't believe what I bought at the market today." I'm like, "What did you buy?" And he goes, "Turns out you can buy porn games on PlayStation."
Yeah, I have a few of those. It's not surprising.
Yeah.
People,
Oh shit.
yeah, when people know Michael Burr,
Think
they know
the Operation Wolf for aiming your winky.
Yeah, it's basically I had a few of them that were made by Vivid Entertainment. These are games that would make the console snob. These games would make the console snob blush. But yeah, there's certain button presses that you had to press in order to.
Don't cheapen it, Mike. Just say how it is. You had to hammer buttons in a certain sequence to basically spray your sticky white love piss.
Yes. It was hilarious.
Your love paints.
I am so concerned for all of you right now. Did all of you have those?
And you know what the worst thing is, though, Jamie? When my brother bought this home, and I popped in and just went, "Oh, you're a pervert. You're going to go blind." And he put it in, and we played it, and I just went, "This is actually kind of fun," in the sense that it's basically like trying to play Dragon's Lair, but in porn form.
Jamie, it's not even that. It was my only way to actually acknowledge that I had porn, but hide it from my dad. Because my parents...
Because you would never have porn in your games collection, would you?
There you go. Exactly. Right? These were unmarked discs. No one knew. Well, you know.
Oh my god.
It's still something every Christmas Day dinner that we have where if I were, my brother's being annoying because he's a photographer and he shoved his camera, his camera in the face. I always make a point at Christmas Day dinner every year saying, "Ian, by the way, do you remember that porn game we bought on the PlayStation 1 that we came for 2 days?" And he goes bright red and he puts his camera away.
Well,
and then my mum turns into classic mum, which just goes, even though he's almost like, he's my twin, he's exactly like me. He's pushing 40. She just goes, "Dear God, Ian, I know it was years and years and years ago and it doesn't count, but did you buy a pornographic game for your computer?"
Well,
yes, Mum, and I waked up regularly to it.
Yeah, my mum eventually found.
Yeah, and it was why. Basically, it was a lot of hammering why, and then I sprayed my sticky white love piss. Sorry.
PlayStation turns 20. There has been an edition of the Sony PlayStation 4, which was an anniversary edition released. I believe it was.
Which looks gorgeous.
Or was it only in Japan?
Even
all I know is those beats go for ridiculous.
Pretty sure it was released in the UK as well, because wasn't there some news story about some shop selling it for like £20 somewhere? Are you guys in?
20 quid.
Oh no, that was Amazon, wasn't it? Amazon fucked up. Their software crashed, and you could. I don't know how I don't know how they would reimburse the businesses, but I hope they would. But basically, private sellers were selling stuff, and because Amazon's software crashed, and it changed the exchange rate or what you would type into the pay bar, if that makes sense. Put it this way, right? Some bloke walked away with £16,000 worth of Sony equipment when that happened, and he cost him 16p.
Well, let's go on to the next on the line of PlayStation models, because we're going to basically talk about this quickly and go into just a little bit before we drag the show on. We had the PlayStation 2 was released after the PS1, released in 2000, 15 months after the Dreamcast, and a year before its other competitor, the Xbox and Nintendo GameCube. PlayStation 2 was part of the 6th generation of video game consoles, backwards compatible with most original PlayStation games, like its predecessor. I own basically...
With a nice little fudging thing you could do in the options.
Yeah, and I own 4 of these, believe it or not. All modded. And backwards compatible with original PlayStation games, like its predecessors, received slimmer redesign and was released built with the PSX DVR, Sony Bravia KDL 22PX 300 HD TV, and it's the most successful home console in the world, having sold over 155 million units.
Doesn't it have the same lifespan of the Atari 2600 in,
it was
games for it, something?
And it was the
They only stopped
fastest,
making games for it a year ago.
And this one holds another world record. Can you tell me what it is? It's something to do with fast.
Something to do with what?
Fast.
Static.
fastest selling system.
Yes. Of all
Impossible
time.
system to get. I remember that. It was a fast when it came out.
Well, it's the fastest selling system of all time, selling over 155 million units of December 28, 2012, and it had 100 million units shipped within 5 years and 9 months from its launch. Its achievement occurred faster than its predecessor, the PlayStation, which took 9 years and 6 months since launch, and reached the same figure. PlayStation 2 shipments in Japan ended in December 28, 2012. The Guardian reported in January 4th, 2013 that PS2 production had ended worldwide, but studies show that many people around the world still own one, even if it's not in use. I own both. I don't have the Slim. I might actually see if I can find a Slim and purchase it.
I own a Slim.
I own 4 variations of the PlayStation 2, including 3 black PlayStation 2s, and 1 grey one. And every time, the reason being, every time someone threw the bloody console out, I was like, nope, I'll take that. I'll give it a good home. There is no way I'm letting you, get rid of that gem.
Do you know what? It's one of the machines. And the games are starting to go up now, apart from the ones that are obviously worth lots of money. But it's one of the machines that if I had to hammer down my collection to just a couple of machines, I would definitely keep the PlayStation 2 in my collection.
So let's go around the round robin here and ask everyone which is their favourite game on the PlayStation 2. Dave.
Metal Gear Solid 2. Can I tell you a really stupid PlayStation 2 memory?
We'll go to that.
That made me so made my mates so jealous at the time. I was in a place called the Big Shop, which was like a branch of Woolworths, but like wholesale wars. And I remember thinking at the time, I don't want a PlayStation 2, I don't want a PlayStation 2, and they're doing the pre-order thing, and it was fast and everything like that. And so all you had to do was put £10 down as prepay for it, and then pick it up on the day of release. And I thought, oh fuck it, I'll do it because everyone wants this machine, and it's kind of in my gap year of not gaming, if that makes sense. And then I remember getting the letter through the post that just said, by the way, please go and pick up your... Oh, and before that, they sent you a manual as well, a nice shiny manual in the post. But it said, please go and pick up your shiny new PlayStation. That'll be £299, please, sir. And I just remember thinking, fuck me sideways and call me Susan, because everyone else on the news is not getting them, because it was a massively botched launch. And yeah, I was pretty damn fucking popular that year, I can tell you.
Aww.
And Metal Gear Solid 2 is the greatest game on it. Even though you have to be Raiden. Such a prick.
So, let's go to our special guest here. Ray, do you want to start? Sorry, Mr. Joseph Wood.
Yeah, Joe. I thought you said Ray for a second there.
Sorry.
I thought you said Ray as well. I was going to Ray.
I'm thinking Ghostbusters.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
don't mess with it, man. I'm a scientist.
Exactly.
One of my first experience with the PS2 actually was one of my favorite games would be Dragon Quest VIII. I absolutely love spending a lot of time playing that game. Got it in 2006, actually, as a graduation present from high school. But I'd have to say, like, my favorite game would either be... I'm going to have to go with Odin Sphere, because that game is just fantastic and the art style is amazing. And it's a great side-scrolling, like, brawler RPG game Which
That
to
game
compare it
is
to
absolutely
anything,
amazing, and I completely forgot it existed until you just said it then, and it's a fantastic game.
to compare it to anything nowadays, it'd have to be Dragon's Crown, since it's like basically almost the same game.
Do you know, one of the games that I played on the system that I think is an underrated gem, and it's part of the Resident Evil series. Can you guess which one?
Outbreak, File 1 and 2.
Damn freaking straight. And it was the first game, one of the first games that PlayStation had that went online. Even though it was a complete botch because the online service was terrible at the time. So, Chris, what about you?
There's that many good games with PS2. I'm still playing the PS2 today. Because there's that many games I missed, that many games I'm still discovering. But I've got to say, probably, I can't choose one favourite. That's impossible. PS1, easy, Symphony of the Night. PS2, there's so many.
Pick it by company.
What game stands out the most to you?
Let's see.
I'd say the game that stands out most for me is still the Banter, which was a launch title, because even though it was butchered in PAL regions, I managed to play it in 60 Hz due to my brother getting his PS2 modified. And that game still graphically and gameplay stands up today.
I think we might all be overlooking a charm right now, which is the reason I bought mine when I went downtown in the middle of the night years ago to buy it, which is Ridge Racer. Still is hands down.
Ridge Racer.
Welcome to Ridge Racer.
Well, let's go to Scott about that. 1 second, Scott. What was your favourite game?
I think I'd have to go for. I think it was Grand Theft Auto 3. That was on the PS2, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yes.
Okay. Like I remember, like as I said, like I didn't really get my first PlayStation until the PlayStation 3, but I used to play a lot with a friend of mine, and I remember we'd just like spend like hours and hours just like doing a whole lot of nothing, and just like scurrying around in the environment, like turning on the cheats, getting like tanks, and making everyone super aggressive with guns, and it was like absolutely crazy and bonkers. And I always loved playing that.
The sandbox in that was second to none, in my opinion.
Especially
for that console as well. But
Let's not forget the importance that when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out and blew our tiny little minds about what you could achieve on a console that wasn't a computer.
Agreed. Scott, you were going to say something else?
No. I don't think so. But yeah, like that's probably one of my favorite games on the PS2. Yeah.
Can I be completely unrelated, Scott? Do you live in Wisconsin?
No, I live in Canada, West Coast, BC, and all that fun stuff.
I'm on the East Coast.
Oh,
So-
you should come over next time.
You're East Coast
You're-
and you're West
yeah.
Coast. Do you guys feel?
I'm in Newfoundland.
So,
Somewhere
we'll go
on
to
the
you
go.
next, Sean. What was the game that choice?
For PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2?
PlayStation 2.
Oh, PlayStation 2? I still play it now. Like, I lost my PlayStation 2 in a move, but I have the original disc so I can emulate the system using PSX2 on my PC. And Onimusha, I love the game mechanics to it. And, you know, just the game style too. It wasn't too hard to read into or anything like that. It was simple enough, but it wasn't simple enough to insult your intelligence. Besides that, Shadow of the Colossus. Oh, God. I just loved that game.
Fucking amazing
It's just-
game.
I haven't yet to play that.
Oh, it's so good. If you got a PS3?
Yeah, I have the collection. I just haven't got around to playing it yet.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
just
you should.
basically
You
a
should.
collection of boss fights, but it's
So many other
epic.
games, dude. So many other games to play right now, though. You just
Oh, I know.
don't.
It's
play
one
it.
that will enthrall you for a few hours at a time, at least, too. So.
So,
I
next,
just Xbox One like last week, and I've been still been trying to play Bayonetta 2 on my Wii U, so I'm bouncing back and forth too much at the moment.
So let's go to Miss Jamie Styles. Jamie, what about you? What was your favourite game on the PlayStation 2?
My favorite game on the PlayStation 2 would have to be the Sly Cooper series. I can't pick like just one. I have to pick all of them. Like the original trilogy, not the newest one. I haven't played it yet.
Okay, Nick, what about you?
Favorite PS2 game? It's either, I want to say San Andreas, but mostly I played that on the Xbox. But as far as stuff I played on the PS2, I gotta say Tony Hawk's Underground 2.
Oh, good call.
I'm sorry, World Destruction Tour, Tony Hawk vs. Bam Margera, done.
So, Nick, if we had to ask you and had to call you out on it, what would you say was the best wrestling game on it?
SmackDown Here Comes the Pain.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. That's for me, and also was one of the starts of the WWE going into what I would say would be the brand split era of the WWE. But we won't ignore. We won't talk wrestling on this podcast because there is a podcast.
No, I'm just curious of which. I'm literally making a mental list of all these games right now.
I'll give you a huge list of wrestling games from top to bottom, and what we can do, if you want, we'll do a wrestling game kind of retrospective on another episode of I Got Gameplay. Now, let's continue. Yeah, go on.
Well, we just real quick. We kind of overskipped because nobody mentioned this at all. Ow, damn keyboard. Okami. Nobody mentioned Okami. That was another really great game on the PS2.
Yeah, it stood out on its own as well, and it was a very.
Is that a painting game? Well, it's not a painting game, but you know what I mean.
Well, you do that. You use painting to finish off bosses and do other little things in battles. Yeah.
So
I have it on the Wii, I think, somewhere.
Let's
didn't realize that was a PlayStation game originally. Who knew?
Yeah, it was PS2 originally.
Let's talk a little bit more about the PlayStation 2 while we're on this. It was released in 2004, the Slimline model, which is what they did previously with the PlayStation. Again, it had the 8 meg memory cards on it. You had the DualShock 2 controllers, which were the controllers that included a vibrating kind of like pad. So I remember like playing games. It was like a.
Wasn't the original DualShock that wasn't vibrating, like the double analog controller was actually released for Gran Turismo, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first one didn't. The PS1, the smaller slimline version, that was when they released the DualShock system, which had the vibrating, and then the DualShock 2, which actually seemed a lot more better.
Which now everyone takes as staple.
Yes. The slimline was smaller, thinner, quieter, and also included a built-in Ethernet port because it also had an integrated modem in some markets. And
but hard-drive in it, couldn't you, as well?
Yes. It was. You can actually do that with the original ones as well. It was lighter than the original Slimline together with the AC adapter. Sony released yet another revision to Slimline, which had overhauled the internal design, incorporating a power supply into it. And the original PlayStation 2 resulting in a further reduced total weight of the console. So you can see that Sony always managed to try and make it smaller. Then we had the release of a console that was the 7th gen. Most of you guys will know this one because we did the Generation Awards last week. And that is the PlayStation 3. It was released on November 17th, 2006 in North America. It's a 7th generation game console from Sony, and it competes with Microsoft's Xbox 360 and the Nintendo Wii. The PS3 is the first console in the series to introduce the use of motion sensing technology through its 6-axis wireless controller, and the console also incorporates Blu-ray disc player, features high definition resolution, and it was originally offered with either a 20GB or 60GB hard drive, but over the years the capacity increased to increments available 500GB. If you were tech savvy like I was, you would have basically installed a 500GB hard drive into the system anyway. It sold over 18 million consoles worldwide as November 2013. Now this one had a problem. Now can anybody tell me what that was?
Yeah, the backwards compatibility was
$600 at launch.
Yes.
Was it $600? Christ alive!
Yeah.
Nick Horacek, explain to us the whole issue with this.
Oh man, when this thing launched, because remember this was the big fat, PS2 or PS3. I mean, it was $600 at launch, and there was nothing for games. So this was a hefty investment. and I think the hard drive was only like 20 gigs or something, and the thing would act like a damn space heater.
Yes, which I have.
Heat your house with this bastard.
I have the original PS3 FAT that I use, what it's actually coined as, which I use at the moment for my PS3 titles, and the thing can heat a room. I mean, literally, I'm very warm and cozy.
I just thought you were going to say I use it to heat my room.
It literally, when I play it, that's what it feels like. I feel like I'm in a sauna. It's great though, because my room is naturally very cold, so it kind of evens things out. So yeah,
they're really that model is really sought after. But what I was going to say, which is wrong for your question, but the biggest problem with the original release was it didn't emulate PlayStation 2 games. It actually had PlayStation 2 chips in it to run them.
Yes, it had backwards compatibility.
Yeah, and they weren't compatible with the rest of the hardware, and they just fried all the time. My brother had like 3 PlayStation 3s, and they just kept failing because he was just playing PlayStation 2 games on them.
Dave, does he still own those original ones?
He's still got one that works, but he doesn't dare turn it on because he thinks it's going to be his retirement plan.
Okay, well, if he does have any of the broken ones, send them to me. I might be able to fix them. So yeah, Nick, continue.
Yeah, this thing, I mean, $600 at launch is a hefty investment. And people were complaining about the Xbox One.
So I didn't mean to cut you off there, Nick. I'm just going to quickly draw a comparison to what you're saying. $600 is like, over $500,000. What was it in the UK when it got first released?
I think it were 400, 450, I think.
About the same then with the exchange rate, pretty much.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nick, I'm just I'm trying to draw some sort of UK comparison.
And that's a hefty investment. I mean, people were complaining that the Xbox One was $500 when it launched. I mean, holy shit, at least with the Xbox One, there were a couple of titles that were, maybe worth the time and picking up a new system. But, man, I mean, what the Xbox 360 launch at, I think it was at like $350 or something like that. So, big hefty cost. And yeah, the PS2 chips in it, it didn't emulate the games. It basically had hardware in it. So that's partly why some of the price went up on it. I mean, by the time, they released a Slim a couple years later, it would play, PS1 games backwards compatible, but not, the PS2 games.
Yeah, so they showed the chips out because they kept trying it, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why those models are so sought after on eBay, but essentially if you buy one, it's going to die at some point.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say about the original PlayStation 3 is, am I the only person who thinks it looks like a grand piano?
It does. Now that you mention it, yeah.
Fingerprint magnet.
It does. It's fucking huge. If you look at the PlayStation 2 and you look at the PlayStation 1, right, they were, like PlayStation 2 was a bit brick, ugly, but they were well-designed consoles. PlayStation 3 looks like it should be dropped on Tom and Jerry in a fucking 1960s cafe.
Yeah. Good God. At least with the PS3s, you could put another hard drive in it and up the storage capacity, but damn.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I actually have one of those fat PS3s.
Do you have the grand piano one?
Yep.
Nice. Is it and it'll run PS2 games?
It'll run PS2 games.
Nice.
Actually,
am I the only person to know on the few machines that do still exist that run PS2 games, they don't quite get the colours right, do they?
No, they don't.
If you play Gran Turismo 4 on the PlayStation 3, for the PlayStation 2 game, it ever looks so slightly looks like you're watching Top Gear in a different dimension.
Sorry about that, guys. Did no one continue the conversation as I was going?
Oh, we were still talking a bit.
I did. I was pretty much explaining the fat PS3, man. And like Dave was saying about how it didn't emulate the colors, right? I noticed that with the PS1 games.
Yeah.
Particularly, because I had the Slim And the bandana on the main character's head is
my brother's own one. I never played a PlayStation 1 game on the PlayStation 3, so I don't actually have any experience of how it emulates it. Does it fuck it up? I think is what you're saying.
No, I have, and you've upscaled them as well.
Just like
They do upscale the game as well. It looks okay,
right,
but the quality is kind of still shitty. But I have played some of my dad's old PlayStation 1 games on the PS3. It tries to smooth things out a little bit. Now,
did it speed up the loading times?
That was the thing as well. The loading times were a lot faster, but that was the thing. The console was a bomb, you know. So they tried to, you know, do things a little bit more with the PlayStation 3 Slim. And it was also being outsold by which console? Come on, guys.
It's got to be the Wii. The Wii and the 360.
The Wii sold out everything, but it's the 360 that
fast.
Yeah, the Xbox 360, its competitor destroyed it. Why?
Halo.
Well, not because it was reliable.
Well, that's pretty much it. Yeah, go on, Joe.
No, go ahead.
No. Continue.
No, I'm just agreeing with.
I'm just eating barbecue Doritos. They're awesome. But yeah, as you're saying, Joe.
No, I was just agreeing that the 360 was at the time was definitely more reliable, and in fact,
I'm saying it was unreliable, is what I said.
Unreliable.
It was, yeah. And I shouldn't say this out loud, and I say this every time I say it, but I bought my 360 second hand from Cash Converters for fucking 70 quid in 2009, and I'm waiting for it to die because it's already red. Oh, I shouldn't have said that out loud, should I? Shit, touch wood. It's already red ringed once. But came back. It came back to us.
Did you use the towel thing?
No, you know when you get that really stupid moment when you have... See, in North America you have small plugs. We have really big plugs because we're stupid. And you know when you unplug something from like your T-bar? Mm-hmm. And as you do it, your brain suddenly connects immediately to what you're actually doing. And my brain just went, dear God, Dave, you're unplugging your Xbox 360 while it's running live. And I was... tried to, and my brain just went, and I pulled the plug out, and then the Xbox went bink, and I put it back in, and it went red ring, and my brain just did that thing you always do, which is, oh fuck, I got to sell this, I got to sell this, I got to do this, I got to get rid of this, I got to find the money to, you know, get another Xbox because I can't live without it, and I plugged it back in, and it just worked. Well, so what I'm trying to say is my Xbox it's running on death's legs, and I'm not joking, right? The room beneath my bedroom, you can actually hear my Xbox running in it when it's on beneath this room.
What did the PlayStation 3 Slim have, which was the same problem as the Xbox 360? Answers on a postcard, ladies and gents. Can you answer it?
Ventilation.
Yes, and what did it cause?
Fires?
The red light of death.
Overheating.
The yellow light of death?
Correct.
I think it's the yellow light of death on the PS3 and then the red ring on the...
Yeah. So, Joe, you're the first to talk about it.
Yeah.
What does Sony do to kind of resolve this issue?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
They offered you a free guarantee, a lifetime guarantee for the system.
Yeah.
And what they did was you took them to service centers where they opened the system up and resolved the issue. Pretty much as that. Yeah. The system was built with basically a slim model. It was redesigned, 33% smaller, 36% lighter, consumes 34% to 45% less power than the previous model, and it features a sold in excess of millions of units within 3 weeks of sales. The redesign also features support of CNC, more commonly referred to as Virulink, which allows controls to console over HDMI by using a remote control as the controller. PS3 Slim.
Do you think there's a root of the Xbox 360? Because the original Xbox 360 wasn't actually HD, was it?
No. It would only do 1080i. No, 720i. Wasn't even 1080.
Well, their Xbox is 360. Sorry, they don't even have an HDI out. Period.
Yeah.
They have a SCART socket.
Yep. I have one of them, which is the old grey console. Now, which is the arcade. It has a 45 nm cell, and the PS Slim no longer has a main power switch, similar to the PlayStation 2 Slim. Previous models is located at the back of the console. It's officially released September 1st, 2009, North America and Europe, September 3rd, 2009, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. Now, this model was different in comparison because... Why? They took away a lot of what the features that the PlayStation Fat had.
Did they get rid of PlayStation 1 backward compatibility?
Correct. Couldn't play those games.
Because there's a new Slim line right now, isn't there?
Which is called the Super Slim model.
Yeah, which Christ only knows.
But we'll talk about that.
Yeah, Super Slim got rid of
Super Slim got rid of PS1 compatibility. Current Slim, well, the previous Slim can play PS1 discs.
Now, the Super Slim was redesigned, had a sliding door covering the disc drive, which moved to the top of the console. 4.3 pounds almost, 3 pounds lighter than the previous Slim model. And it comes with 12 gigabyte flash memory, 250 gig up to 500 gig hard drive. And
flash memory, is it?
Mm-hmm. Which include the Super PS3 selection of games are available. Right, so let's go round robin again. Scott, we'll start with you. What was your favourite game on the PlayStation 3?
There's quite a few. I'd have to say one of my favorite ones is Red Dead Redemption. Like, one of my favorite moments in the game, and if anyone's played this, or played Red Dead Redemption, they probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you just go through the river, you kill off all the guys that are, like, just shooting at you, and then you find yourself in Mexico. And this is when I was doing a night shift at this one job, so I was living at my parents' place, and at the time I got home, I was playing the game because I was so into it. My parents were asleep, so it was essentially just me playing the game. And then that one song came on. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I managed to like find the album and buy it. But yeah, I remember just listening to that. I was just like riding in the middle of the night in the game too, and it was one of those moments that was just absolutely crazy. I need to play that game again.
Yeah, and also, it was another thing that introduced which the PlayStation 2 didn't have. Downloadable content. Online capability.
Yep.
You had, basically Sony's online entertainment network, which caused another problem, which also has continued to plague Sony to this day. What is it? It had to do with online.
Good question.
Something that's happened with North Korea kind of recently.
Hacking.
Oh, getting hacked?
The network got hacked?
Correct. Joe, explain.
Well, it got hacked and pulled a lot of people's personal information and screwed a bunch of shit up. So Sony eventually gave free games away in a year of PS Plus free to people who were affected. Well, basically everybody, not just people who were affected. Because I remember when I was like, I didn't even have my PS3 online at the time when this happened, and I was like, well, hell yeah, I'm going to jump on now and get those free games.
What about yourself, Chris? Did you experience this?
Yep, I was, when that hack happened where PlayStation were down for a couple of months, it was when SOCOM came out, and I was so pissed off because I was so looking forward to playing it, and they hacked it, and I couldn't play an online-only game that I was looking forward to. I was so pissed off.
How long was the network offline for? Because I remember it was a long time.
I think it was
like
about...
a
I think it was like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, about 3 or 4 months. Correct. Think about this, guys. 3 or 4 months, you could not use an online network. And to this day, people don't put their credit cards or information on that freaking system because people will steal your money. It happened to me. I got hacked. Sony, very nice people that they are, got the money back didn't offer me any free shit. They were just like, yeah, we got your money back. Be grateful.
Yeah, it's still in the courts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that happened, too. A lot of people in my area were Craigslisting that wanting to trade up their PS3s for 360s. A lot.
Yeah.
You could buy a PS3 for like $100 around then. I almost jumped on one, but I didn't. Mostly because my roommate already had one.
And that's the thing here. For a system that's supposed to be... It was superior to the Xbox in every way.
Yep. It never got to shine, though.
Except for the side bus RAM.
Xbox 360 fans, but it never got to shine because they became a platform. You know, like the Spectrum, the Commodore, the NES, and the Master System. So, you know, certain games would just be on both of them and look the same. Because the PlayStation 3 was way more powerful. And it pains me to say this because I'm an Xbox whore. Pains me to say this, but the Xbox was just... It was... inferior hardware to the PlayStation 3.
Well,
but because they had to, bridge these games across these systems, they just kind of got tucked in line.
This is the thing it had, which the Xbox 360 didn't. Xbox 360 supported DVD discs, DVRs, and later on HD DVD. Now, the PlayStation 3 out of the box supported what?
Blu-ray.
Which became the standard. And...
you know the story behind that, don't you?
Well,
the
official...
We'll
talk about that in a minute. One sec. The funny thing about it as well was you had games like Final Fantasy 13, which you could play on one disc on the PlayStation 3. How many discs did it come in, guys?
3 on Xbox 360, I think.
Yes. And there was a funny little thing on Metal Gear Solid 4, I believe, where was it Otacon goes to him, Snake, we have to change the disc. Oh, wait.
All I know, right, is playing the latest Wolfenstein game on the Xbox 360 is a fucking juggling.
Yeah, it's and I don't honestly see why that game needed to have an 8 gigabyte install when there's no multiplayer to it at all. Nothing that would cause you to have to install this game, and you have to keep switching back between discs. You know, it's 3 discs.
I went downstairs when it was installing, and I cooked myself a pizza. Went upstairs, and it was still installing.
Yeah,
that's fucked up.
That's just another story. It's a good game, but I still think they could have done more with it. But that's completely another story.
That is. We will do a Wolfenstein retrospective. Damn you wait, I'm waiting on that one. So, Mr. Joseph Wood, what was your favourite PS3 title?
Oh god, there's so many to fucking choose from, dude.
The one that gives you the most jingles in your cockles.
I have to think about, there's just, God, so many games. I'm gonna go with Mirror's Edge because I know it was cross-platform, but I got it on PS3 because I found it and it was fairly cheap at the time. And I was like, I keep hearing good things about this game. I want to play it, and I love playing the hell out of that game. It was a great story and mechanics of wall running, which I was rubbish at from the very beginning, but I still love the hell out of that game.
An innovative game for an innovative console. Mr. Nick Horchak, favourite game on the PlayStation 3?
Oh, damn. It's honestly a toss-up between Assassin's Creed 2, Batman Arkham Asylum, and Bayonetta.
Which I've been playing on the Wii U. Bayonetta.
Yeah, Bayonetta. Yeah, you can now play Bayonetta. I still need to get Bayonetta 2. I'm going to say Assassin's Creed 2.
Scott, by the way, you've got a co-cheer on that. Travis Goss, Mr. Rose-Coloured Let Plays, says Red Dead Redemption is his favourite PlayStation 3 game as well. So joins you on that one.
Yeah, that's a really good game.
I would say that, but I have it on 360.
So, Assassin's Creed 2 for Nick Horchak. Mr. Lawn Boy, your favourite game?
Right, now, I'm not a PlayStation 3 owner. I have access. My twin brother and my older brother both have them. And whenever I go, when my neighbour's being a dickhead and I go and crash at my older brother's house, and it's an old game, I know it's a really old game, but I love a franchise. But my favourite game on the PlayStation 3, when I only ever get to play is House's Metal Gear Solid 4. Yes, I know it's more movies than fucking game, but it's just wonderful.
It's
Nano
gorgeous.
machine.
Yeah.
Nano machine. Nano machine.
Snake! Snake!
So,
Snake!
Mr. Chris Sanderson, yours?
I can't choose a favourite, but I do have a top 5 of my PS3 titles, which are Ni no Kuni, Initial D, Catherine, Nier, and Final Fantasy XIV.
I will have to admit, Catherine, so fucking underrated, and was a game that brought puzzle, erotica, and anime together. Atlas.
I just find Catherine weird.
Catherine was amazing, but I kind of hated how, quote, I guess how stereotypical they made the guy. I mean, I guess that was the point, but it just kind of, it irritated me. It's like, oh, all guys think this way, you know, and it just, I guess that was the only thing that irritated me about Catherine. That and the fact that it doesn't really have any real replay value.
Yeah, it doesn't. I agree with you on that, but it's still a standout title for Atlas. And put them on the map as well. For the PlayStation 3. So Jamie, what about you?
My favorite PlayStation 3 titles have to be, I love BioShock. Like, BioShock is absolutely fantastic. And there was one more that I had, and it's
360 exclusive, didn't it? If I remember. Am I right?
It did. It started out as a 360 exclusive.
It started out that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So good choice.
Well, like, I have it for PS3 of BioShock, and then I enjoy the Portal series as well. And I think Portal 2 was the only one that really came to PlayStation. And the first Portal game was only available to the Orange Box, through the Orange Box.
Portal 2 has the greatest sense of humour you will ever hear in a game.
Very meta.
Oh god. Fantastic.
Sean, what about you?
Demon Souls is pretty fun. I like the fact that, dying wasn't really too big a thing if you could recover your shit. Besides that, well, I tried Fallout 3 on it as well, and there, when we did our awards episode there, I said Ni no Kuni, of course, as well, because, well, I'm a big studio Ghibli nut, and, it's a great game.
Again, some fantastic titles for a very underrated system, because the PlayStation 3... Even though it lacked us the sales, I think the biggest issue was Sony, in my opinion. They thought too big. It's the same thing what Microsoft did with the Xbox One. They expected their audience to buy anything they'll throw at them. Problem was the markup was too high. Then they had issues with their online network. Then they had issues with the Slim console, which they tried to make cheaper. Then they basically ended up nearly having issues with the majority of titles. But it's a severely underrated system for the quality of games that were released on it. And that's the thing. It had a lot of quality titles in comparison to the Xbox 360, which had everything on the system. I mean, everything.
Yeah. You think... Yeah, sorry. I was going to say that you think about it, though, most of the Microsoft exclusives are just Halo and Gears of War.
Yeah. And that's it. The 360 won out because the online services dedicated more to the first-person shooter now. First-person shooter titles dominated Microsoft. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Hell, I loved my Microsoft Gold account when I could afford it. It was amazing because I could play amazing quality titles on the system, and I had an Xbox 360 way before I had a PlayStation 3.
Same here.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And the only reason being is because it was cheaper. I would suffer with the multiple discs issues because it was a cheaper console. I got mine, believe it or not, for £30 that I had to put on top of vouchers that I won from a website, HMV vouchers. Went to HMV, got a second-hand pre-owned console, 2 controllers, and a game, which was Left 4 Dead 2.
Oh.
I went online and played that bad boy. I played it hard.
I bought that last year for free on Steam. It was free for a day.
There you go. But Sony's PlayStation 3 is actually my console of choice at the moment in terms of the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 because it does everything that the Xbox 360 does, but better. It's a faster console, but I still love my 360. So
It's ugly. It's so
You know,
ugly.
fun story, I actually won my PS3.
Did you?
Oh,
Tell
nice.
us about that.
Okay, so the story, basically what happened is, because I play the WWE games every year, for SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, they were doing a series, I think it was 2010, it was 2010. They were doing a series of created contests because you could upload different created content. So the one I did was for a best cutscene. So I basically made this cutscene, and I had Miz as U.S. champion. I have my creative guy come in, they go back and forth, I insult him. I actually pulled a line that The Rock said about every time that you show up and everyone stops, gets up, and says, I'm gonna go take a leak, this guy sucks. So then, you upload it, you tag it how they want you to tag it. I don't remember how long went by, but I ended up winning my console of choice. So I'm like, well, fuck it, give me the PS3.
There you go, guys. Dreams do come true. Now,
Yep.
before we go on to the PlayStation 4, let's talk a little bit about handheld quickly. Sony went into the handheld market. They weren't very dominative in terms of the market itself, but they had a very high quality system. Released in December 2004 and March 2005. It was called the what?
PlayStation
Portable.
Exactly. The PSP, which was the acronym. And it was actually
I remember a
something-
bloke. I still live in Canada at this point. I remember a bloke came into the bar with one. Look at me, I'm so fucking rich and shit, and showed it off, and I fucking drooled over that. I just
They
went,
had an
oh my
opposite
god,
system.
it's like a PlayStation 2, but in handheld form.
Yes, it was known as
I got two.
PSP. It stored both games and movies, contains 32 megabytes of internal flash memory storage, expandable via VM memory stick Pro 2.0 cards, and similar control layout to your PlayStation 3 with the logo buttons of the triangle, circle, X for cross, and square on their coloured controllers. Now, the story behind mine was I was dating my now ex-wife, who said to my brother, I want to buy him something for his birthday. So my birthday came, I didn't expect anything. And this is the second time someone has actually bought me a console, and I never knew, do you know what I mean? And I always love presents like that, when someone buys you something that you don't expect. And I'm expecting, like, I'm going to get a card or something, I don't give a fuck, And I come home from work, having a busy day at work, and there's a box there, and she goes, come in here, I went with your brother Hassan out to go and have a look at this. I wanted to get you an iPod, but he told me to get you this. I opened up the box and tears flooded down my eyes. It was a PlayStation Portable. I was like, this thing's expensive. How the hell did you get a... And my other brother came in the room and he was like, how the hell did you get that? It was like, she bought it for me. I was shocked. And it came with a copy of Raw vs. SmackDown 2009. Played the thing, played General Manager mode. I was on cloud 9. It was such a great console. I still have it, actually. I changed the face on it. It's got a white faceplate on the console itself, and it's sitting on my shelf. And I've actually modded it as well, because you could mod it using Grand Theft Auto Liberty City stories.
Some bloke at work gave me his old one. He didn't want any more, and it's the white one, which is really nice. And I have to say, two absolute standout games on that system are the Grand Theft Auto games. They're absolutely wonderful.
And do you know you can connect that console to your PlayStation 3, so you can do remote play?
I did not.
Yeah, and if you modded it a bit, you can also use it as another PlayStation 3 controller connected to your PlayStation 3.
Correct.
Use a gamepad.
And it's a very good platform for emulation.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
I played loads of MAME emulators on this. Now, let's go and do a round robin again. Mr. Nick Horacek, your favourite PSP game?
North Korea got him.
I think so. Mr. Joseph Wood, your favourite PSP game?
North Korea got
North Korea got him.
That's going to be a running gag for this show.
That's a running gag for the show. Okay, then. I have a limited PSP library, but I'm going to have to go with Prinny, Can I Really Be the Hero? Offshoot of the Disgaea series. Dude! What?
Tell us about the game.
The game, if anybody of you guys played this Gaia series, the Prinnies are little penguin demons that hold the souls of humans who have to pay for their sins before they can be reincarnated. And they've also, there's Celestial, which are angel-like Prinnies. And
Church. Sorry.
Yeah! And then there's Demon Prinnies. And then, and in this, offshoot of this Gaia series, which is a strategy RPG, this is a hard as balls platformer action game. Where you play as, when you throw, anyway, when you play as a Prinny who has to go back and get Etna's super dessert, because someone ate her dessert. She's one of the main characters of this Gaia series. And she's like, if you don't know this, Prinnies, when you throw them, they explode like bombs. So it's like, I can't go out there, it's dangerous. So she gives him a scarf that gives him infinite lives. And he has to go out and go on a quest and fight huge bosses and enemies, and just, which actually change depending on what time of day you've played them and what levels you've completed them in, because there's an in-game clock. So they can be either more difficult or less difficult depending on when you tackle each stage. And the main goal is to find a new super ultra dessert for Etna to eat.
So, Mr. Chris Anderson, yourself, what's your favourite game on the PlayStation Portable?
I would have to say it's a toss-up between three, which is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Probably the best Kingdom Hearts game in the series altogether, and anybody who missed it on the PSP, it is now out on the PS3 under Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD. Final Fantasy Type 0, which I played via a translation patch, and it's probably one of the best looking games on the PSP. But one game that I sunk over 3,000 hours into is Monster Hunter Freedom Unite.
I love all
that game. I haven't sunk as much time into any other Monster Hunter game apart from that one, because when I started playing Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, I discovered a nice little program for the PS3 called Ad Hoc Party, where any PSP game that didn't have native online functionality could be played online through your PlayStation 3 as a network bridge.
Wow.
Nice.
And so, probably about a year of my time went on Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. I missed out on so many games, but that game is just absolutely fantastic.
Didn't you tell me you ended up losing the save data?
I did. I was so good because my memory card become corrupt. I come to play it one day, I was going to go on a G rank quest, and my save was corrupt.
I just that sting like a motherfucker.
It did, and I thought, fuck it, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite G's coming out like Japan only, so I thought, fuck it, I'll just play that. Different location, some new monsters, so yeah, I played that to, I suppose you can say, ease the pain.
I feel your pain, by the way, I do. I'm not laughing at it, I'm laughing at, the debacle of how technology slaps us in our face and calls us Susan.
Damn it, North Korea. Jamie.
This is where it gets really embarrassing, because I had a PSP, but that was back in the time when I didn't really understand gaming, and back when I wasn't able to get a lot of games, and there wasn't a lot of games coming out for the PSP that I actually liked or was interested in. So I have to say that the best PSP game that I owned was the Pac-Man game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can laugh it up.
No, I like Pac-Man. One of my favourite games in the 360 is Pac-Man DX.
Gobble gobble.
It's awesome.
Fucking awesome. Yeah, damn. And I put loads of hours.
I want to eat the dead. want to eat the dead. That's
So,
not creepy.
Sean Michelin, yours.
Oh, hard choice to eat. Okay, a little bit of background. I own 2 PSPs. I got a hard-mounted 2000 there with a Star Wars faceplate and black buttons. I threw a 1000 battery in it. Got an aftermarket battery cover, so it takes a bigger, fatter battery. I got an 8 gig PSP Go Memory Stick Pro Duo M2 in it with the adapter
because the slidey one, the PSP Go.
The local Walmart was selling a lot of the accessories for dirt cheap, and
so I heard
PSP Go memory sticks.
A bunch of stores sold them off stupid.
Yeah, and I missed out because there's still pallets of them in some fucking warehouses in some places. But PSP Go little memory sticks actually came with an adapter to use in a regular PSP, which was cool because an 8 gig memory stick Pro Duo M2, the one for the PSP Go, was the same price as a 4 gig memory stick Pro Duo for the PSP. So about that, and that's all loaded up with just like bunches of like import games. That like the initial D game is amazingly fun. It's a great little downhill drift racer. I actively collect for it too, though. Sorry?
PSP Go is a whole other story, though, because, you know, we're going to offer people to get the games they had already free digitally, and then they just kind of pull back all that. And
in the beginning, you had to have a PlayStation 3 to download through as well. They were recommending you do it that way, because if you went straight through Wi-Fi, you didn't always have a good connection.
So let's talk about the mistake that they had with the PSP Go. So, Joe...
Can I talk about my favourite PSP game?
In a sec. Joe, tell us about the mistake with the PSP Go.
Well, the mistake with the PSP Go was that they had no UMD slot. So it had no support for if you already had a PSP system and you wanted to play these games you had and upgrade to it, you can't. And then they said, well, you send us, proof that you got these games and we'll give you those games for free. And then they just backed out of it because it was going to cost them way too much fucking money to do it.
Plus, it's got a limited lifespan, hasn't it? Because ultimately, it only exists as a console, a handheld console, as long as Sony decide to support the network.
Which they backed out of rather quickly. The PSP Go was not needed. They had like 2,000, 3,000 revisions of the freaking console, both because basically they tried to stop people from like modding them.
Mm-hmm.
But, the funny thing is, Sony,
you can mod any PSP now.
Yeah, Sony are like the hacking community loves Sony because every time Sony went, "Fuck you, you can't hack our machine," they've hacked them.
Yeah,
actually, it went to the point where they decrypted the digital keys in the signing software on the PSP, so they were making "quote unquote" official homebrew.
Yeah,
homebrew that could boot on a stock PSP.
Yeah.
They have game jams now every year, competitions. I try out a lot of the homebrew, actually, and I'm going to be doing some, when I start doing videos besides the Raspberry Pi stuff on my channel, I'm going to be doing it with PSP, because I got all the cables to hook it to the television to capture software and all that.
You can actually you can buy a cable, can you? Or you can actually play it on your telly, right?
I got the component cable, which I have hooked to my flat panel for my 2000 and my 3000.
Does it look like equivalent to PlayStation?
It's nice, but you got to zoom it in. It does about 480p. Now there's an aftermarket cable that has an HDMI, and that one you just hit a button on the connector that plugs right into the PSP, that business end of it, and it'll actually pop it out for you. You don't have to screw around the TV settings.
That's nice.
And there's an S-Video cable as well. If you use it with the 2000, you can just hook it to any CRT if you even wanted to. They also make a DTV, and I'm pretty sure there's a SCART cable. Nice. I'm pretty big into the PSP, actually. You guys over there got the E1000.
I love you.
Yeah, the 1000.
I worked in a television studio, and we had a couple monitors that had SCART on it. So I looked it up when I was in high school and found out what SCART was. It was pretty good format.
It's a really good format. Yeah, it is. It's just like you know what? Don't worry about the number of pins that has people, because everyone works solidly, and that's the signal you get. Because for video game systems, before we went HD, SCART was the dog's bollocks.
Let's go to you, Dave. What was your favourite PSP game?
Gods of War, the prequel game. Anyone else remember that, with the kinky little fucking stupid sex games? That's not why I liked it, but I just thought...
There's a common theme going on here with you and sex games.
Yeah. Well, I thought that game was just absolutely epic. It was like the original Clash of the Titans, but in my mind.
Did you play the game like with with basically a torch underneath your bed, just like playing it, and your mum's coming into the room going, "Dave, what are you doing?"
No, I skipped the sex scenes to save Greece. Kind of guy I am.
They didn't want to change too much.
Well, that was an absolutely wonderful game and a complete, it's an old game now, but a complete showcase of the power of that little system.
Agreed on that one.
Actually, that's not fair when I say little system, because it's not a little system. It's a powerhouse, and this might sound a bit crap, but if I can give an honourable mention, just mainly for the way it made me move in my chair, was. I know it's like a launch title, but if you ever play Ridge Racer on the PSP, I dare you not to move when you play it. You'll sway all over the shop like a motherfucker, because you can't help it. Because when you look at a portable screen and you go around corners, your brain just wants to go, this is real driving. I'm going to sway. That's what I would do right now. That's my honourable mention. But God of War, would be the game when I had my first PSP before I got my current one. That just absolutely blew me away, and I just went, "Holy shit! This is like Epic Biscuits, but in handheld form."
Mr. Scott Wilson, your favourite PSP game?
Not technically a PSP game, but Final Fantasy VI. A friend of mine had an emulator on his PSP, so we used to play that in high school. I've never had a PSP, so I guess the closest thing that I could say is probably the Nintendo DS. Yeah. And if I were to say favorite game for that,
DS game,
Chrono Trigger. I've played the hell of that game.
That's actually my favorite game of all time, Chrono Trigger.
I couldn't tell. I wonder how that's his favorite game. Maybe
not at all.
Yeah. Can you tell?
If I could interject a little interesting fact.
Yeah, it's one of those which, like, it's kind of, you can't hint at it even more, where the fact that you're
completely fucking obvious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I break the mold of tonight's topic, Mr. Burhan, and just say this because I really want to say it, because people laugh at me, but I fucking adore this game. Do you know what my favourite DS game is?
Cooking Mama?
Tiger Woods.
Well, Dave, we'll talk about the DS when we do our
Tiger Woods,
Nintendo.
2006.
We're going to do our Nintendo we're going to do a handheld retrospective, so I'm not going to go too much into it. Nick, did you tell us what your favourite PSP game was?
You know what? It's honestly going to be the Dracula X Chronicles.
Ooh, that's good.
That's been, I have.
That's a good call.
I've had a few people say how great that is, but it has been a mixed bag. Some people hated it, some people didn't like it.
Isn't a translated audio version of Rondo of Blood on there as well?
Yes, there is.
Yes.
Because somebody took that audio, ripped it, and then they made a patch. You can patch a copy of the original for the PC Engine CD, and you can actually play it on the PC Engine CD as a backup copy with the English audio.
There you go, guys. And just so you know as well, there's been many versions of this console, from the PSP 1000, which is the one I own, the PSP 2000 and the 3000 series. My brother owns those. And also the PSP Go model, which is the most disappointing one out of the lot, because there was no point in this thing even being around. It was 43% lighter, 50%.
You can say it, Mike. You can sum up in one word, because it was shit.
It's not that. It's Sony made it near enough impossible for you to even use this thing. And
it was just a failed fucking concept.
Joe hit the nail on the head on it. It was a failed concept, and even Nintendo's had failed concepts.
The modders love it.
Yeah, but and you have those who do love it. The other system is the PlayStation Vita. It was released in Japan December 17th, 2011.
You missed one model, actually, Michael, though, the PSP. There was a successive model after the Go.
The E1000 model.
1000, yes. You have to mention that.
The budget
for you guys, we don't.
It was, unlike other PSP models, it didn't feature Wi-Fi or stereo speakers. Basically like your new model of the Wii that they released.
They were like a Fisher Price my first PSP.
Pretty much. It had a single mono speaker. It had a charcoal black finish similar to Slim, and the E1000 announced at Gamescom 2011, and it was available in PAL region for a recommended retail price of £100.
Oh my god, it was a fucking Del Boy PSP.
It was a PSP for those who really, really had to scratch. And I wouldn't recommend it. If you want it, you can buy it. Have you?
I don't think the advert campaign for it was, "Hey kids, are you really cheap? Because
hey
if
kids,
you're really
are your
cheap,
parents poor?" Sean, tell me, did you have your hands on a copy of this?
Oh, the E1000? I'm debating on getting one because of the fact that, like, I'm actively collecting for the PSP now. My 1000's dead, and I robbed it for parts. I got a 2000 there. That's pretty custom. I got the 3000 there. I'm going to get a go at some point because, as well, footnote to the TV out thing there, David, you can actually, with the PSP Go, because it has Bluetooth, if you mod it, you can sync a PS3 controller with it. So plug it into the telly.
Oh, nice.
You can actually play. Yeah, you can actually just dock the thing. You can buy a dock that has.
The
like
thing
a
is, though,
TV out.
right, the PSP Go, I as much as I think it was a stupid idea, I'm not going to lie. The few times I played one, I really like it, and I love its design. And people always complain and slag off the fact that it's got that kind of slide-up screen and shit. But I
thought Sony
made an Xperia like that as well.
It looked and felt nice. It's just they just basically made
it's
it
just a lack of
impossible
fucking physical contact, wasn't it? Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they botched that part pretty fucking
like
good.
taking your girlfriend, putting her in a glass cabinet, and saying, "Yes, that's how you're gonna make love to her for the rest of your life."
I like your tits, but I can't touch them. So.
Yeah. But that's literally.
But yeah.
Yeah, go on.
And I collect the games too. I was just going to say, and I collect games too, but I actively play like the homebrew stuff, like I play around with a lot of the actual games that people put up that they make themselves and fool around with the emulators. You can ad hoc 2-player for like most of the emulators as well.
Well, you know what we're going to do, Sean?
Oh, yeah.
I think we're going to do an episode on modding next week. So make sure that you join us. I'll get you to host it.
Oh, well, I'll definitely be around because I'm pretty big into modding.
So I think we're going to get you to host that episode if you're up for it.
Let's do a whole episode of my favourite games on the Wii Homebrew channel.
We will do
that.
We're going to do homebrewing, and we're going to talk about it because I'm very into homebrewing myself. So
I just taking a piss when you're drunk simulator, and it's awesome.
Well, we'll talk about that in a
There's
bit.
a toilet simulator for the PSP as well.
Let's go straight onto the Vita because we've got time and we're already overrunning here. Released in Japan December 17th, 2011. America in February 22nd, 2012. The Vita was previously codenamed Next Generation Portable NGP, officially unveiled on Sony in 27th January 2011. And again, this console really failed to find its niche, even though it's an amazing console. It had 5-inch OLED.
It was technically a failure at launch, though.
2 analog sticks. Yeah, it was even outsold by the PSP, believe it or not. Rear touchpad, 6-axis motion sensing, 4-core ARM Cortex A9 MP core processor. The new PCH 2000 system series is lightly redesigned. The face that was announced in SEEJA press conference in September 2013 prior to Tokyo Game Show. The model was 20% thinner, 50% lighter compared to the original model. Type B port, 1GB internal storage memory. Released in Japan October 10th, 2013. Now, I have the original model.
Does it have solid state, by the way? Does it have solid state? I don't. I admit I'm a bit naive when it comes to
it uses basically the Sony. Sony brought out their own memory cards for this because
that stupid long memory card. Yeah.
No, but this one's a different one. It's it looks like an SD card. I've forgotten what it was called. I've got my PSP around, my PS Vita.
It's called I'm a Sony SD card, and I'm going to cost you 25% more than any other SD card.
An SD card for a 64 gig SD card. You'd probably have to pay the same price as a 64 gig for a 4 gig Vita card. I think it's called a Vita card or something like that. But
see, that annoys me because SD cards are so cheap right now. I bought a 64 gigabyte SD card for my camera for £8 the other day.
Yes,
but no, Sony.
We'll go into that in a minute though, because I want to talk about the system and how much of an underrated gem it is. Yeah. With the PSP Go, you can see where the fuck up happened. With the Vita, they developed a system rather like the Wii U, which was very unique. It has amazing kind of 2-axis buttons there. You've got like the basically the control pad at the top. You've got the normal controller there as well. you have the triggers, and you have a backplate that you can use. The best game to use on this system, and it's a game that I think anyone should own, called Tearaway. It's going really cheap on Amazon at the moment. Fungo did a review on it, and I was hooked. I literally love this game. I love how amazing it is. You tear through paper, you like build things. You can see the sun, which has your own face in it. It has a camera on the system as well. It's so unique. And you know what? The one thing that I use the system for the most than anything else?
Combing hair?
No.
Sure, I did that. So.
Playing a 79p game I downloaded off the PlayStation Network called Jetpack Joyride.
I've heard of that.
It's so.
Oh, I have that.
It's so amazing. The PlayStation Vita, I've got Tales of Heart as well. I did a review on that. Go on my channel, nerdgenius.com. I can tell you a little bit about it. It's a great game, amazing console, and it spawned something that I'm going to get my hands on as well, the PlayStation Vita TV, aka the PlayStation TV.
I was going to ask you about that. I don't get that. What is that? So you can call me dumb twat, but explain to me what that is.
We're going to talk about it in part of our Sony cool shit part that we're going to talk about it after we talk about the Vita in a little bit. The Vita itself, Joe, why do you think it didn't work? Why do you think fans got really annoyed with the system and just didn't support it? Because now it's literally just a third-party accessory for the PlayStation 4.
I really honestly couldn't tell you why they would do that, because I think it's a great system as well.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to own. I've had one for around a year now, and I have a lot of games digitally, a small handful physically. I don't know what to say. It's just I love it to bits. It's what I don't. It's probably a toss up between me and my 3DS. I actually play my Vita more than my 3DS currently, though. So.
Well, that's the same thing as me. I play my Vita actually a lot more than my 3DS currently, and it's my favourite little system.
You're both going to hell, you know that, right?
Not necessarily. The thing is, I am waiting for the next Pokemon game on my 3DS, and plus the fact as well, I might have to get the back port fixed on the bloody thing, because my son decided to take the little clip out from the back port, so it still charges, but you have to tweak the charger on the bloody thing.
I just wish I wasn't blind in one eye, because everyone I give my 3DS to goes, hey, your 3D's really cool, and I'm like, I can't fucking see it.
Can I ask, who out the group owns a Vita? So that I can ask concurrently favourite Vita games. Mine's Tearaway, hands down.
How much are they right now, though? By the way, what's the entry price for a Vita right now?
You could buy the Model 1 for like £70 on eBay.
Fuck me.
Yeah, get the Model 1 because the screen looks a lot better than the Model 2.
And I've got to give a big thank you out to Gashead Steve. Check out his channel. I'll put the link at the bottom for you guys.
And he's a fellow Bristol Rovers fan. That means absolutely nothing.
I helped him out of a little jam, and he gave me his PlayStation Vita, which I squeezed like a little schoolgirl. Literally, because I told him I was going to review Dragon Romper, which I am going to review, but I was going to review it for a website that I basically cut ties with because
that's such a good game.
I've got Dragon Romper 2, Jamie. That's on my console. I haven't played
Trigger
it
Happy
yet.
Havoc?
Yes. I've got a copy. I'm going to do a review on it. I'm just trying to get a hold of the PRs that gave the game to the respective company so I can do the review. And I did it basically for this little console. It's a nice little game. I'll talk about it a little bit more when I do the review. You're going to see a rather rich review on it. It's such the console's such a breath of fresh air. It takes everything that the PSP did, and makes it a million times better. It's like if the PS3 and the PS Vita and the PSP made love, this would be their child. You know, the graphics are amazing. The remote play, and now I want to point this out. The remote play on the PlayStation 4, you can remote play anything. The PlayStation 3, you cannot. And that's due to a Sony lockout. It's not due to the fact that it's not capable of doing it. I'm going to point that out. And I want to say, Sony, get rid of the fucking HDMI capture card bullshit that you've got on the PS3 and allow remote play on the Vita from PS3, because I want to fucking play my games in my bed, god damn it. Ugh. It's annoying. And it does one thing that the Wii U tablet doesn't do. You can play your games and have it remotely synced.
Cooks you breakfast.
No, you can have it remotely synced to your PlayStation 3 that you can just go downstairs. Say, like, for instance, some people have trouble taking the tablet down to other places because there's no signal. The range is so short on the fucking Wii U. But this thing you can take into the toilet. You can remote play in the toilet. You can remote play in your garden. You can remote play 5 minutes down your road, as long as you've got a good Wi-Fi connection.
I must be blessed with the range on my Wii U, because my games room, I can leave my Wii U running in it and actually play games on the pad in my bedroom.
Yeah, but I think the reason behind that, Dave, is probably your walls are paper thin.
And this sounds, that's why I can hear that prick next door and his kid screaming all day long.
Yeah.
But this sounds also terrible. I may have taken several dumps playing my Wii U.
Dude, that's the dream. That is the dream. I'm going to find a way to modify my Wii U tablet so that I can take dumps and play my Wii U games. I want a toilet game with it, god damn it. Now.
Have one with the mic so I can hear you drop.
Yeah, dude,
I'm telling you,
I'm threatening to do an episode of Idle Gameplay on the toilet. I am threatening to do that. Now, anybody else own the PSV?
I'll take my tablet with me.
You need to take play your Wii U. It works wonderfully.
Anybody here own a PS Vita apart from myself and Joe?
Yeah, but I know a PS Vita.
Okay, so Nick, tell us your favourite PS Vita game.
Gravity Rush.
Boom.
That game, the art style is awesome. The gameplay is fucking great. Just that whole gravity mechanic, having to manipulate gravity to do certain things. Awesome.
So, Mr. Chris Sanderson, yours.
Favorite PS Vita game at the moment has got to be a toss-up between Killzone Mercenary and Hatsune Miku Diva.
Sean.
Don't own one yet. Sad to say, it's on the list though. I want to get the TV, really.
Yeah, you won't get both because basically it's the next gen of the PSP, man. This should have been the evolution of the PSP, in my opinion. So we're going on from that. We're now going to go on to cool shit that Sony made with the PlayStation name, and it's a few of them, including the 2003 PSX, which is a DVR system with a PlayStation built in. It was released solely in Japan in 2003. John Gamester has one. I'm so jealous.
Is this like the thing that they kind of made for like Japanese hotels?
It's an integrated DVR and PlayStation 2 video game console. It was the first Sony product to utilize the XROS Media Bar, which is the XMB, which is basically the standard thing that's used in PlayStation 3s. It can be linked with a PlayStation Portable to transfer videos, music via USB, and also features software for video, photo, and audio editing. It supports online game capability using an internal broadband adapter, and it utilizes the PS2 HDD. For example, Final Fantasy XI are supported as well, and it's the first product released under Sony under the PlayStation brand that did not include a controller with the device itself. Anybody...
And according to Luke Morrison, it's very hard to find a working one.
Yeah, has anybody had this console or tried it?
No, but it sounds amazing. I want one.
Sexy biscuits.
Dear Luke,
it pays to be GameStop.
Now, what does PlayStation have in console with the Dreamcast?
Not two processors.
Anything miniature
Online.
as a peripheral, peripheral.
Oh, the Ethernet adapter.
That connected to the... Come on.
The hard drive?
It saved data onto it, but it was kind of portable.
The
memory card thing.
Pocket Station.
Correct, Chris. Tell us about the Pocket Station.
Pocket Station was basically a portable gaming unit where select games such as Final Fantasy VIII and I think the Chocobo Dungeon games where you could basically play little games on it similar to the Dreamcast VMU, like where you're raising a Chow on Sonic Adventure, you'd be raising and leveling your Chocobos on the Pocket Station. Exclusive to Japan as far as I know, and they are still, I'd say, reasonably priced, and I do want one because I've never owned one.
Yes, me too, and being a fan of the VMU devices on the Dreamcast, I so want this. But it's a beautiful, beautiful little thing, and something very, very unique to the system. Now, they also did television sets released in 2010, the Sony Bravia KDL 22PX300 22-inch 720p television, which incorporates the PlayStation 2 console, along with 4 HDMI ports, includes a 24-inch 1080p PlayStation branded 3D television, officially called the PlayStation 3 Display, was released in late 2011, featured the 3D television of SimuView. During multiplayer games, each player will only see their respective screen in full HD, and appear on the television through their respective 3D glasses instead of seeing a split screen. Very, very innovative.
So basically, they just ripped off what they did with the Wii U before they did it, and now it's not sad, because I don't know if anyone else knows this, but, you know, pretty sure they do, which is Sony and Microsoft both complained or slagged off the Wii U when it came out, but now they're both trying to emulate it.
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So Sony Xperia Play, which was the precursor to PlayStation Now, was an Android-powered smartphone with a slide-up gamepad resembling PSP Go, developed by Sony Ericsson, aimed at gamers. It was the first PlayStation-certified device, and you can basically play stuff on the app, which would allow you to download PlayStation 1 games onto the system so you could play them. You had Sony tablets, which were PlayStation certified as well, did the same thing. And now we'll talk about the PlayStation TV, which is aka the PlayStation Vita TV in Asia. Is the micro-console, non-portable variant of the PlayStation Vita handheld. It was announced in September 9, 2013 by Sony Computer Entertainment Japan. Instead of featuring a display screen, the console connects to the television via HDMI. It's one way you can actually capture footage from the Vita. Right.
Well, this is where I get confused, because I've seen it in, you know, like stores and shit, but I have no fucking Scooby whatsoever. What?
It's amazing.
You know what? And the final thing that Jawario reviewed on his channel before he passed, God bless you, Justin, was the PlayStation TV. So check it out. It's literally just a TV version of the PlayStation.
Dumb it down for me. By the way, I do this to you.
Okay, it's basically you have a control. It's a little box that plugs into your TV, and it has a slot for PlayStation Vita games. You can download your Vita games onto it, or you can put the games into there using the little Vita cards, straight into the console, and play the games on your TV the same way you'd play it on your Vita.
Oh, nice.
And it has remote play, so if you've got a PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4...
There's a few YouTube channels like I can't pronounce his name.
Lactobacillus Prime.
Dave,
yeah.
One other thing as well, your PlayStation... Say, like, for instance, you've got a PS4 in one room, yeah? And you want to play... you don't want to ship the console to another room, and you want to play your Vita TV. You could connect your console, turn it on, say your mum and dad are watching TV, turn the console on, go into the other room, turn on your PS3.
Watch TV, they're Victorian.
Play your Vita TV in the other room, right? And watch and play your game normally. And it will stream your game from the PlayStation 4 to the Vita TV.
Well, I know nothing about it apart from what you told me, but I do know from Mark for his talking experience of it was is it true that it's not that compatible with a lot of the games?
Yeah, apparently there are a list of games out there that are not compatible, but the thing what I don't understand is it's a fucking Vita, so how can it not be compatible with Vita games?
It's a screen control. Yeah, I mean, I've actually played on a PlayStation TV, and it seems to be any game that heavily requires any sort of touch capability. Games that I know for a fact do not work are Uncharted, Ninja Gaiden, Silent Hill Book of Memories, and there was another couple of titles, but one thing that I really do like on it, due to it being a consoleized PS Vita, is that you can play PS1 games and PSP games, and PS1 games look absolutely fantastic on it. The colours pop, everything's sharp, and one thing that I was really surprised
does it shade them? Does it do kind of like, you know, the PS2 thing, where it kind of like tries to, you know, Voodoo 3 card, the Marco and Chet, or is it just like it's bog standard PS1 game?
No, it upscales.
It upscales because the display of the PlayStation TV is 720p, and
Nice.
it upscales it, and it looks unbelievably sharp, and it looks fantastic. And with PSP games, because if you output to a TV on a PSP, it is letterboxed, you have to zoom, and some games look really blurry and not that good. But with the
Curse you,
PlayStation
not
TV,
you, you're just saying, curse you wankers, you may have talked me into buying a PSP.
with the PlayStation TV, PSP games are full screen.
I'm sold, that alone. I'm sold.
With the PlayStation Vita or with the PlayStation TV, you can assign, like, let's say for Monster Hunter, for example, on the PSP, you have to use the D-pad for the camera. You can assign the D-pad to the right analog stick, so essentially you're going to be dual sticking PSP games that might have been a bit difficult
Can I
to
be
control
really
before.
dirty, Angle? Oh, and ask you something? You guys who own PSPs, every one of you, how good are the analog sticks? This sounds really stupid, I know, but how good are the analog sticks? Like, they proper,
I only use it if I have to, honestly.
I don't mind the analog sticks.
I love my PSP, but the original PSP.
No, the analog sticks in the Vita are decent, but the ones on the PSP, the one on the PSP.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that, did they fix that? Because the ones on the fucking PSP, or the nub, if you will, on the original one, is bollocks. So did they at least kind of understand their, they don't like...
They're a ton better than the PSP nub.
The PSP nub.
You get what I'm saying, don't you? Ultimately, if you're a gamer, you want, even any format you play on, you want a fucking decent analog stick.
Well, let's go from that conversation to our final PlayStation console, which is the PlayStation 4. Its latest video game console from the Sony Computer Entertainment, announced on the press conference February 20th, 2013. It's the 8th generation console, and Sony revealed some hardware specifications for the new console. It was launched in the fourth quarter of 2013. And introduced as the Times 86 architecture of the PlayStation series. According to the lead system architect Mark Kearney, development for the 4 as began as early as 2008 by Sony CEO Jim Ryan, emphasised in 2011 that Sony wanted to avoid launching the next-gen console behind the competition. Among new applications for the services, Sony introduced this PlayStation app, allowing PS4 owners to turn smartphones and tablets into second screens, enhancing your gameplay, and also plans to debut PlayStation Now game streaming service, which is a clusterfuck at the moment, and that's from Gaikai. It incorporates the share button on the new controller, making it possible to view the game content being streamed live from friends, and Sony plans to place more focus on social gameplay as well. It was released on November 15th, 2013. Now, for all those intents and purposes, who owns a PlayStation 4?
Not me.
I don't.
Okay, so Nick...
There was shame in your voice. When you said that, by the way, there was shame in your voice.
So Nick, you own one, right?
I don't.
Oh, you don't.
I have an
So-
Xbox One.
Okay, so the one person who's going to be in there who knows about it is Chris. Tell us your experience with the PlayStation 4. Is it as great and unique as Sony have stated it? Or do you think that the console itself is kind of not found its grounding yet? Because I know a lot of companies haven't really found their niche with the 8th generation console of gaming, but that usually happens when you go from when we went from the 6th generation to the 7th. Things on the PlayStation, but I can find some games on the PS3 that look like fucking blocky PS2 games. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So we know that this is happening, and know it's going to take a while to find its footing. Tell us your experience and tell us what you did with the console.
I got a PS4 on launch, just because, in terms of preference, I'm not a fanboy towards Sony, but that is my console of preference, just because, in terms of Sony systems, I know what I'm going to get. Sony systems are RPG powerhouses and also fighting game powerhouses. There's going to be a ton, and as we all
Does it
know,
have
Street
the
Fighter
God
5.
fucking update problem that the PS3 had? Where it takes you
That, I think,
2.5 hours?
The update thing is with any system today, basically.
Dave, do you remember the Wii U? How much of a fucking issue that was with updates?
Well, yeah, you see, I like the Wii U, I really do, and this is why I'm asking about the PlayStation 4, because the 3 was really bad, but when I had my Wii U, the first thing I thought when I pulled it out of the box and plugged it in was, really? I have to wait an hour for you to fucking update my internet shit. I have to wait an hour for you to fucking update. Has at least the play, because I heard that the Xbox One is slightly better than the PS4 when it comes to chugging through fucking updates and shit.
It kind of is, but at the same level, it depends basically on where the updates are coming from and what they need. Like, I know the recent Assassin's Creed Unity...
Oh, no, I know I'm being very generalistic.
No, but the update for this Assassin's Creed Unity, apparently it's got so much data that it takes hours. You have to sit down and make yourself a cup of coffee just to basically... or do your laundry.
They're actually rewriting like parts of the town of the city of Paris in the game for places where they have had issues. Have actually completely rewrit the code for the town.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. What I'm saying with games, with updates, this is going to happen depending on what they're updating or how they're updating.
No, I know we can't completely escape it. It's just, I just miss the good old days with solid state cartridges and you just plugged it in and it worked and you didn't have to go, boop.
Yeah, but a lot of this stuff,
an update is available.
So many amazing games is because it's cheaper.
There you go, people. That's the phrase. You know, when people say, like, what you're scared of, that's the phrase that curls my toes and makes my blood run cold, which is, an update is available for this. Do you want to skip it? And you know you should, but you know if you don't, you'll get a broken game.
Yeah,
but
if you skip the Assassin's Creed update, you're going to have a broken game.
Yeah, but it's just
with Unity, I mean, had they not released such a a half-done game, I think it wouldn't have been so bad, but oh man, I'm so glad I haven't jumped into that yet.
Well,
I'm just starting on Assassin's Creed 3.
Let's talk a little bit more about the PlayStation 4. So, Chris, what does this console do that the PlayStation 3 doesn't do?
Does it look shiny and fantastic?
The main thing it does, I mean, as a lot of people know, there's just remake after remake coming out, and it's good and bad in a way. But I'd say the main thing that it does, which nothing else does, PC, console, tablet, is, I mean, I suppose you could say the Nvidia Shield is the game share feature. That is a true next gen thing. It is a next step in gaming, because basically if, for example, Mr. Burham wanted to play Killzone Shadowfall, he's not sure whether he'd like the game, I can say, right, come into a party and I can give you the controller virtually on your system and you just play the game like you are playing it at home. There's very minimal lag.
So I can remote play the game from your console?
Yes.
Wow, that's kind of awesome.
And for games that have split screen or local only multiplayer, such as Towerfall Ascension, that has local multiplayer for 4 players. You can invite 4 people to play locally over the internet.
So basically, I could play the game without even having it.
Exactly. I mean, like one of my friends, he got FIFA 15, and he said, "Do you want to have a game of FIFA?" Yeah, all right then. Share play. Had a game of FIFA. I don't even own the game.
That's fucking amazing. I gotta say that is absolutely amazing.
Dave, we need to get on this. Let's pull our money together and just get ourselves a PlayStation 4.
I think I've just been sold.
You'll play it, and I'll just sit there on the TV screen and just watch you.
Just that alone, but also, let's say you are remote playing with your PS Vita on your PS4. Someone can game share to you via your remote play on the PS Vita. It's Sony have got it right with the Gaikai servers. There is a few like humps and bumps, and it all depends on your internet setup and internet connection. If you are using a potato for your internet, it might not work too well.
I use a potato for the internet, I'm fucked.
But generally, I mean, at work, for example, I can remote play from work, which is a half a meg connection, and it's generally like free.
So do you have to bring your PlayStation 4
I'm
to
so,
work?
I'm
or do you remote
literally,
play
dude, you should
from
do
your
the
console
fucking
at home?
commercial for fucking Sony, because you literally just sold me on this.
Chris, can I ask you a question? Would you be able to do me a favour? Could you do me a video of like you doing this remote play sessions?
Yeah, I'd love to see that, mate.
I would too. I'd love to like even if we live streamed it, because I'd love to see how this works. Kind of sell me on the system if you can. So you could literally say if you've got the console at home, could you remote play it to your work?
Yeah, I've taken my PlayStation Vita to my mother's house, connected to her.
Sorry, Xbox One, I have a new friend.
And just had a quick game on Killzone Shadowfall, and another good thing, let's say if you...
stay on the toilet.
Oh, of course on the toilet, you've got to play on the toilet. That's what I do with Final Fantasy, do some crafting while on the toilet.
Fuck me, dude.
Making quads.
I need this console. This is innovative in toilet.
Nothing like getting XP when you
This is
out
an
a massive
innovation in
crap.
toilet gaming. This is setting toilet gaming to standards.
I'm going to say, if you've got a 4G mobile phone and you've got a strong connection, tether your mobile phone network.
Please don't
to
tell
your
me you
PlayStation
can play your fucking PlayStation 4 on your fucking mobile phone.
Dude, you can put the card
no.
into your fucking phone, into your Vita.
No, I'm upset.
I've got the 3G and Wi-Fi version, which I can do both.
Oh my god, I
Well,
love
if you've got the new, if you've also got the new Sony Xperia Z3 that actually has PS4 remote play native.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've been sold. I need to buy a PlayStation 4.
I tell you what, mate, Chris, seriously, that's the greatest
I've been sold. Fuck!
You're like, I chose the wrong console.
Please
Wrong
quiet down
fucking
and
console.
my currency.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's our retrospective on Sony. We want to say a big happy 20th to Sony, in regards to their gaming division, of course. And I want to say...
I want to say thank you, Chris, for telling me that I need to pull my head out my ass and buy a PlayStation 4.
I will say I am extremely impressed. And I can't wait
I didn't know that. Why didn't they aggressively market that on the fucking TV? Sony, you're idiots.
I have no idea.
Sorry. In fact, Sony, fucking hire Chris. He could fucking plug
they
your
have the
console.
wrong PR company, I can swear. But there you go, guys. That's the PlayStation 4.
Hey, Burhan, seriously, do you want to split one? I'll split one with you.
I feel like doing so because I could remote play it from your fucking house. That would be awesome. Hey, Dave, turn it on. I want a game
That's my
of
point. It doesn't matter where it lives.
I want a game of Assassin's Creed Unity. Can you do you mind if I remote play it from my bedroom to your house? I would fucking
Go for it. Watch a match of the day.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Ban, I'm going to play now. Hey, do you want to play multiplayer?
I'm so sold, Chris. I'm not just tickling your balls. I'm like, seriously, that. Why did fucking Sony say that? That I'm sold on this system so much, based purely on that.
Guys, I want to do one thing before we finish up. Give me one word that expresses your opinion of Sony, Dave.
Love.
Nick.
Epic.
What was that, Nick?
I think he said epic.
Joe.
Yeah.
Fun.
Scott.
Act.
Jamie Styles.
Superior.
Sean.
Ooh.
Hardware.
Chris.
Ooh.
Lifestyle.
So there you go, guys. Let us know in your comment section what you think of Sony and how you think the company's progressed. With a company that's had ties to Nintendo, that's basically become one of the biggest and kind of overbearing juggernauts in gaming, and doing so many things right with its gaming division, where do you think the company will be headed? What direction do you think it will be headed for? and how do you think that they will overcome some of their weaknesses, including the gaming the network hacks and the issues they've had in previous iterations of their console? Let us know. Leave a comment below, and just talk a bit more Sony with us. Next week we're going to have Mr. Sean Michelin on, and we're going to be talking about modding. So make sure that you check that out. And let's go to the plugs. So let's go first to Jamie. Jamie, where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Hazardous Cosplay and on YouTube at Shimeji. I also have a Tumblr and a Twitter, which is GVirus Junkie, and an Instagram, which is Hazardous Cosplay. I will be selling my charms from Shimeji Crafts at the Knoxville Anime Day on January 17th. So if you're in the area, come by in the Artist Alley and check it out and see what all we have to offer.
Don't say it like that, selling your charms. It sounds like you're pimping.
I might be pimping. You don't know that? You don't know me.
Oh, I want to know what kind of...
buy your charms, unfortunately.
I want to know what kind of charms she's selling if she's pimping them. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I'm selling any kind of charms you want, honey.
Well, hey. So...
Not that much, you could handle them.
If he starts basically like... If you start like pimp slapping your charms for not doing their jobs right, then there's a problem. Now, Sean, where can
Jamie, can you make me a DeLorean out of fudge?
Can I make it?
A DeLorean.
Yes, I can make you a DeLorean out of fudge. No, fuck no. What do you think I am, Martha Stewart?
That's a whole... No, she can't. She can't craft. Sean, where can we find you?
Alright, well, you can find me. I am on YouTube, Dietless79. Also, same thing with Twitter and Instagram. And actually, Instructables, we're bringing up modding for next week. I actually have two tutorials. One shows you how to mod an original Xbox controller so you can put a USB drive in it so you can mod the original Xbox.
So there you go, guys.
I actually teach you how to mod the original Xbox as well.
I've got mine hard modded. Chris?
You can find us at... Hello? What's happened?
No, Chris, we can hear you.
Over there, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You can find myself over at Pixels Without Borders. You can find us on Twitch TV, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. And we also have a podcast on iTunes.
And they don't pimp anything. So, Joe, anything to add to that?
Besides Pixels, I have my own YouTube channel. It's Comatose87. I have a Twitter also, which is PWB_Comatose87, and I've recently done a couple of reviews for a little YouTube group called Marley Gamers. I've done 2 Rampant Retro reviews where me and some other guys, it's mainly their channel, but I've helped out. They do reviews in under 2 minutes of anything retro. So
there you go, guys. And Scott, do you have any projects that you're doing at the moment?
Mostly stuff to kind of like help with doing some visual effects stuff. Nothing really to talk about, but one thing I've been kind of toying with is creating like a YouTube or Twitch stream and just kind of have me be on mic and just do programming and show people what I know. So that's a maybe. That depends on if people are interested in seeing me ramble and not make sense.
Do it. So if you've got passion behind that, do it, I say. But not anyway.
Like, I've been kind of toying with it. I kind of started thinking about that within a few weeks, but it's a maybe. Right now I'm just doing a lot of programming, and yeah.
You, sir, need to buy yourself a ZX Spectrum 48K.
So, guys, as well, Nick, where can we find you?
Alright, you can find me on Twitter at GamingPegasus187. You can find me on Instagram at Pegasus187. You can find me on YouTube at the the Microsoft Xbox Live thing at Pegasus187. I'm on Facebook at Nick Project. and I'm somewhere on the WWE Supercard servers at Pegasus 187.
Send me a Wii U request, by the way, Nick. Send me a Wii. Oh, you can find me at LongboysClose975 on the Lazy Bastard. That's it. That's my plug.
Okay. You can also find a lot of our channels on nerdgenius.com. I'd like to announce we've added Magus X1 basically on the Nerd Genius website now. He's going to be one of our creative creators. His podcasts will be effectively on the channel as well, and will be contributing in other ways, including doing a joint Pokemon retrospective with me on the Nerd Genius YouTube channel. So we're looking for more creators for nerdgenius.com. If you've got any specific skills, you like anime, you like anything, come over. Come and have a word with myself. Even if you work for Retro Island, just come over.
Join the dark side.
And if you want to put in any
We have cookies.
Exactly, we do have cookies. Anything that you want. Plus, you have a respective website behind you that can help you with PRs if you're looking for any media like films, like reviews for television shows, or even games that you want to review. We can help you out.
And also support Mr. Burhan, who's the hardest working person on the internet I've ever met.
And you can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/nerdgenius as well. You can the Retro Island Network is going through a huge overhaul at the moment. You can find us currently on youtube.com/unlimradio. You can talk to us on Twitter, twitter.com/igotgameplay. Go to the respective sites of our awesome contributors tonight. I want to give a big thank you to basically Mr. Joseph Wood and Chris Sanderson from Pixels Without Borders, and including Mr. Scott Wilson himself, for guesting on the show tonight. And for everybody out there, I hope you enjoyed this show. And for Dave Wade, for Nick Horacek, for Mr.
Can I add something for the closing statement?
Go for it, Dave.
Jamie, I still want you to learn knitting and knit me a hat.
I cannot knit!
Yeah,
I think you've taken. You've officially
check out
taken,
Slamcast every Friday.
Yeah, you've officially.
Oh, yes.
You've officially taken over Zach's role of pissing Jamie off. So
God, he has. It's great.
yeah, you are very weird. And you can also check us out Slamcast. We've got a very special episode coming from Christmas Day where I'll be interviewing none other than Sunny, aka Tamara Sitch, who is going to be on a special live interview, pre-taped interview with myself, talking about her former WWE career, what she's been up to, and just, basically chatting about her. It's going to be great for me because the fact that I had a severe crush on her growing up. Attitude Era, Sunny. Guys, look at the photos of her in like bikinis and stuff. She was hot. Still is. And, it's
she eBayed her boobs or something, didn't she? Or her implants?
Yeah, I think so. And she does like.
I'd buy that for $1.
But I'm sure. But she's, I'm gonna try and ask as many hard-hitting questions as I can on the show. It's awesome. Check out youtube.com/nerdgenius as well for a rather British review. My new show's debuted on there. A lot of great feedback from tons of people, including, Mr. Chris Hatton as well. You looked at it. You enjoyed it wholeheartedly. Dave Wade's looked at it. PRs, companies have looked at it and have enjoyed the show. So check that out if you like all Britishness and gaming. In a sense as well. And I'm trying to figure out what else.
And plus, all you people who aren't British, you're just jealous that we are.
Yeah, go to twitter.com/igotgameplay, twitter.com/unlimradio, twitter.com Michael Burham, facebook.com igotgameplay, facebook.com unlimradio as well. And now for Dave Wade, Nick Horacek, for Joseph Wood, for Scott Wilson, for Jamie Stiles, for Sean Michelin, for Chris Sanderson. This is Michael Burhan.
Really, really cheap, stupid question right now, people. Everyone put your fucking YouTube channel on the link down below so I can make sure I can show
This is Michael Burhan being interrupted by Dave Wade saying that we've got gameplay. Have you?
Sorry. It's like a Dreamcast. It's...
Well, yes, this is Michael Burhan. We got gameplay. Have you? There you go.